We are basically doing Google Hangouts, but you have to do it through YouTube. So
Okay.
it's recording to, and we're live right now. I should tell you right now that we're live.
Let's see here.
Does it tell you?
Yes, it does. Hey, how about that? Hey, I am a transsexual. Hey.
We're not really live, but this is the pre-show.
Pre-show.
You tell me when you're ready, and then I'll hit the record.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Come on. All right.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what that was?
What the hell was that?
That was that dude, that Chinese dude getting pulled off the flight.
Oh, that's the flight?
Yeah.
What? Yep.
So we could talk about that a little bit tonight on episode 16.
16.
All right, I got it right this time. Episode 16 of the Guns for Everyone podcast. All right.
Is that a PBR?
That's a PBR.
PBR.
They didn't have Miller Lite
I'm drinking shit too. Look.
Yeah, you're drinking Coca-Cola. You know that stuff has human feces in it. You know that, right?
I did read the article about that.
Don't care, had sex. All right, I'm Isaac Chase, and this is the guy in the blue hat drinking the human shit.
Edgar Antillon.
Every time you say it, it gets sexier. I think you're working on it. Okay, this is episode 16 of the Guns for Everyone podcast. So let's just start it off for fun and talk about this guy who got pulled off this United flight.
Nice.
So do you know the story?
Yeah.
All right. So what's your take on it?
I think it was a bullshit move on the airline side of it. Overall, it's just I get it. It's a private business; they could do what they want. But at the same time, when you buy a ticket, you are already paying for the service, and then they refuse to provide the service. So they didn't meet their. So all around, it all points to United being shitty.
Dicks. I think that it was a really, really bad marketing move. But I found out today that there are special laws that apply once you board an airplane. And basically, the captain is the king of the airplane. And if he says you have to get off, you got to get off. Legally, by law, you got to get off. So all these people screaming, saying it's wrong what they did. No, you bought the ticket, man. You didn't read the fine print. It's in there. But yeah, as far as a business move goes, that was a really bad idea, especially because they pulled them off the plane so that they could board 4 of their own employees who I guess Louisville or wherever they were flying, Louisville, on another flight. And so, but look at this. Look at it this way.
Whole legal thing, the whole legal thing, is now you have government protecting a private business, and that enters into a whole different realm. It's just shitty business right there when you need the government to protect you as a private business.
So then the question is, though, does he have any legal standing? Because
I don't know if it's not
moral or ethical standing. Does he have any legal standing for a lawsuit if he didn't get off the plane when he was told to?
I think the way he was removed, probably, but not necessarily for being kicked off.
His lawyer said they broke his nose. I doubt that, but I don't know. Man, if I was a good lawyer, I would, as soon as that guy walked in my office, I'd take him out back and punch him in the face a few times, and then take him to the doctor and say, "I think you missed some injuries."
Yeah, dude.
That's what I would do, man. So here's the question, though. You're running a business and you have flights all over the country, and you have a crew in Chicago, and you need that crew in Louisville to get the next flight off the ground. in order to meet your commitment for all those passengers you sold a ticket to in Louisville, you need those people on that plane. You need those 4 employees on that plane.
Yeah.
So the lesser of two evils here, from a business standpoint, is throw 4 people off the plane so that you can get the other plane to its destination. Then it starts to make sense, you know?
I don't know. If I was a passenger and they told me they were going to give me $500 in flying credit, pay for my hotel room or whatever, like usually the next flight is in another 6 hours. For me, it would have been like, let's do this shit.
I'd be like, I'm going to go get a steak dinner and come back to the airport and take the next flight out.
Did you see, there's a report on Delta. I think they go up as high as almost $10,000.
Well, I think on international flights they do. On domestic flights, I think there's a limit of like $1,300 something.
A lot of money.
It's a lot of money, man. Awesome. Yeah, and that's not counting your ticket. That's, you know, they're going to take care of your ticket too, and your hotel, and you know, if you have to stay overnight. It's not convenient, but dude, getting paid for it's just sitting around. Yeah. So anyway, it was an interesting story, and I found it really funny, the internet response, because United took a serious beating, which just goes to show you that you can make the right business, like the right decision for your business, and still lose in this day and age.
It's all about how it looks. It was presented horrible. It was presented horrible. I don't think the CEO dealt with it properly either, because he didn't say shit for a while. Yeah.
Even though, I mean, it's pretty obvious that there was quite a bit of uproar, and if I was in charge of a company like that, I'd be going out and gathering as much information as I could and trying to make at least some kind of a statement that showed people I was paying attention. So
he didn't say shit.
Nope. So you think we're going to war?
Oh, dude. I don't know. It's hard to say. Everything in me says yes. I don't know. I do know that Trump.
Yes. my body's ready.
My body.
Well, my thing is I don't trust anything that comes out in the media. So if the media is telling me that China is issuing a warning to the United States, it's saying back off, we're going to go to war or something, I automatically don't believe it. They've just proven.
But what if it's on the No Agenda show?
Well, the thing about the No Agenda show is if they said something like that, they would play the clip of the Chinese prime minister saying it.
Which he already did.
Okay. Well, have you heard it? Did you listen to it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
he pretty much said the prime minister, whoever that dude was, he went on and pretty much said that whoever started the shit, whoever instigated the shit, was going to be dealt with, and they're going to pay their dues.
Nice. Yeah. Gonna get a Chinese spanking. Well, that's the thing about the No Agenda show is they go straight to the source. So if there's a source, they'll play it, and then they'll play what the media presented from
correct.
That,
no, that motherfucker straight up said that he wasn't gonna tolerate that shit, that he doesn't want to go to war, but if shit got hairy in the Korean Peninsula, he was gonna, whoever started it, those were his words, whoever started it was gonna be dealt with properly.
Yeah, well, between Syria and North Korea, here's the thing. I don't really think anybody in my circle, including myself, is really qualified to have like a valid opinion about international politics. Like, I can pay attention to the news and say, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I heard this. I heard that. But when you start to formulate an opinion, and then what's worse, you start saying something like, well, what Trump should do is, like, motherfucker, you don't know. You got no idea what is going on. You're spoon-fed bullshit 100% of the time. And that's what you're forming your low IQ opinions.
Correct.
I have opinions, but I don't think they mean anything. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, to a degree.
So,
I mean, you can look at history and shit like that, but it's so hard to say. Everything
Right.
that Trump is doing, it's pointing in the direction that he's teetering on World War III, because he's pissing off the Russians with Syria, and then he's pissing off the Chinese.
Well, did you hear that the missiles we fired into Syria didn't really actually hit anything? This what, because even the Department of Defense was admitted that they didn't take out the runways at these air bases.
Oh no, I didn't. I heard they killed a few people. I think it was like 30 people that died in that shit.
Oh well, dude, that's the Moab bomb. That's the
right.
mother of all bombs. You know how big this bomb is?
It's like 22,000 pounds.
The Hiroshima nuclear bomb was 15 kilotons. So
Correct.
30,000 pounds, equivalent to 30,000 pounds of TNT. This bomb was 11 kilotons. How fucking crazy is that, man? We just dropped this thing on there. I mean, the major difference is it's not radioactive. So as soon as the fire is out, you can go in and plant your crops back there again, move back in.
Fertile ground.
Yeah, which begs the question, why are we not nuking these mountains? Like if we if we want to keep these people out of these caves and, deny them their territory, like who's going to complain if we nuke a bunch of mountains in Afghanistan?
That's where my dilemma is at. It's just, for me, it seems like we continue to be in war, and I understand it's a money machine and it makes money, but it's just, if we're going to be in it, like why doesn't the US ever just do it right? They have the capability of doing it. Why not just fucking do it right?
Well, this goes back to the idea that it's very hard to fight a winning war when you have people who have the luxury of critiquing it. When Britain was being attacked by Germany in World War II with endless missile campaigns, or not campaigns, but they were being, attacked with these missiles every night. London was being bombed. All these cities were being bombed. The British were ready to scorch the earth and kill every German that they could, because that's what was necessary, because they were in direct threat of dying daily. In the US, we haven't had that kind of an environment since the Civil War. So it's really hard to convince people that the only way to actually win this war is to be really brutal about it, because that's actually how you end the war faster. Instead of fighting a 14 or 17-year war on terror, you fight a 6-week war on terror, where you deny.
I think the problem is we create the terror. We're the ones that create.
True. But if you were removing the causes of it, and you were just saying, well, these people are attacking us and we need to dispatch them quickly, then you would be fighting a much different war than this. We're gonna insert forces in this area and drive back ISIS or Al Qaeda, back, and we're gonna stomp them out. Like, no, that's not really what you're doing.
Correct.
You're fighting a limited war, and limited wars don't work. All they do is perpetuate more limited war. So, I mean, this is not really a new idea, but the United States, we don't have the stomach for it. The people who say this kind of thing are called extremists and radicals, and but in reality, you end up saving more lives than you kill when you fight a total war. So I don't know if you know who William Tecumseh Sherman is or was. He was a Civil War general, and he came through during the late part of the Civil War. He came through Georgia, and he basically burned and destroyed everything in his path. And it was called Sherman's March, and he just went on a rampage and burnt down every town, every building. He took the railroad tracks and destroyed them, destroyed all the food, destroyed the water sources. And
that's what God does.
Yeah.
He gets pissed off, he fucking wipes everything out.
That's true. And he did it, and people, the South is still mad about this. They're still upset about it. They still have songs about it. But the truth is that he forced Robert E. Lee into a position where he had to surrender sooner. This had been a long and bloody war, and Sherman only wanted to end it. And so he did whatever he thought he needed to do to end the war, and so it's very, on paper, it makes easy sense. But when you start talking about actually doing it, it's,
that's
it's
my
hard to
position
swallow.
right now is I'm completely against these wars. I'm against them, but at the same time, we're in. It's kind of one of these tax things. Is I hate taxation, but we're in it. It's kind of hard to not be in it because that's where we're at. But for me, it's just like if we are in it, if we're already in it, we're too deep in there to pull out. Fucking nuke them all. Take the Russians, take the fucking Chinese, take the fucking North Koreans. Like, just get it over with right now, and whatever happens, happens. Because we've got enough to just nuke them all.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of starting anything with like Russia or North Korea. If it got to a point where they instigated it and we had to respond, then I would say you got to do what you got to do. But
it's inevitable. The Russians are gonna. It's going to happen.
The animosity between our two countries, I think, is largely fabricated by globalists who want to accelerate the full integration of globalism. And I'm not talking about the Illuminati. I'm talking about
NWO,
NWO, World Trade Organization, World Bank, European Commission, all these groups that want to integrate everybody under one rule, one government. And they see this instigation, I think, of conflict between us and Russia as accelerating this process. And so I'm against it. I'm against globalization. I'm against all that shit. And because I think ultimately it's bad for people, not because I'm rah-rah USA, but because I think ultimately it leads to less freedom for everybody. So I don't really think that there's a real conflict with Russia. I think that, well, first of all, I think Donald Trump is being tricked, or he really is retarded. One of the two, because
he's retarded. You got to finally admit the fact that this guy's just fucking retarded, dude.
Well, until something really bad happens, I'm going to have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
If he's being tricked, it still means he's retarded enough to fall for it.
It's possible. It's possible. But I keep coming back to, like, when I watch, I listen to the news or whatever, and they talk about how stupid Trump is. These are people who are not billionaires, who are talking about how stupid this billionaire is. I can't make $1 billion. Okay, like, even if I had the advantages that Trump had, even if my dad gave me money and he said, here's a few $1,000,000, see what you can do with it.
Yeah.
I'm retarded. I'm stupid. I would probably lose most of that money in bad investments. And then I'd say, oh, well, I guess I'm stupid. Yeah. Trump, he's not stupid. He might not be prepared to handle this job. But when people say he's dumb, I really don't think he's dumb.
I don't think he's as smart as you make him out to be either, though.
Well, I think he is the next Albert Einstein, to be totally honest. I think the next major breakthrough in physics is right around the corner, thanks to Uncle Donald. No, I really don't know. I just know that I don't trust the people who are telling me that, that he's stupid for doing this and he's stupid for doing that. I don't trust these people in the first place. So I'm not going to listen to them.
Trust the people who tell you that he's smart and he's great and he's awesome.
Oh, who's saying that? Like, I don't hear anybody say that.
Fox News is all over his nuts. Milo Yukonaki hockey saying that same shit. I mean,
yeah, I have heard a few people.
Yeah,
and I don't believe them either. I'm waiting for him to do something that really proves it one way or the other, and so far he hasn't really done that yet. He has not proven himself to make a fatal flaw.
What
or
about
fatal
him
mistake.
and the Republicans? What about him and the Republicans giving up your cookies to the IPS?
Okay, you want to hear the take on that?
Go for it.
Okay. This is the way things were headed until Obama said that we were going to institute quote unquote net neutrality. And Google and Facebook are all on board with maintaining this status quo of, don't let the ISPs have this information. Don't, and Google's like, no, it's wrong. It's unethical, blah, 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 blah. What's that?
Because they do it. It's their competition.
It's their competition, and nobody talks about that shit. This is not a moral and ethical decision. This is a business decision. And I think ultimately that information is already being gathered by other people.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the taxation. What is it? I mean, I don't like it, but what is it? Like, are you really going to stop it? This information is worth trillions and trillions of dollars in the long term. Do we really think our stupid little protests and our opinions are going to stop these companies from using everything at their disposal to get a hold of this information? This information it's a gold rush. And in a gold rush, you cannot stop these people.
So
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But like, you're gonna be like, oh, I wish Trump had totally just sided on the side of not making any money. Like any politician, any president, anybody would have made that decision. They just try to make it look like they did it for you instead of doing it, So I think we were going that direction anyway. I don't like the fact that he did it, but I don't fully understand the decision in the first place.
Correct.
And so, I tell you what I don't like. I don't like that he launched these cruise missiles 2 days after hearing about these gas attacks. Because I firmly believe that these gas attacks are either A, fake, or B, perpetrated by the rebels, not by the Syrian government.
That's what Assad had said. I mean, if you can believe Assad, but Assad had said in his news outlets that there was an attack by him, but his attack came later.
Yeah.
And that it was not his. But even if it was his own bombs, I don't think we're in a position to be fighting with Syria because we haven't finished the other fight either.
I think the responsible thing, again, we're getting back to opinions and how much they matter.
Exactly.
I think the responsible thing to do is to lean on Russia to deal with this problem.
Correct.
And Russia volunteered to deal with this problem in 2013 when we claimed that the Syrian government gassed their own people and we were going to go to war. And Russia said, hold on a minute. What if we just go in there and we take all their chemical weapons? You can watch us, you can monitor us, we'll take them and we'll just dismantle them.
Yeah.
And in 2014, we said, you know what? The Russians did it. All those chemical weapons are gone. And then in 2017, the Syrians bombed their own people with chemical weapons. It's like, well, up here. It's
in the interest of Russia to take care of it anyways, because they're the ones that have the financial interest in Russia.
They have a very strong financial interest in keeping Assad in power and keeping the Syrian government from toppling, because there's huge oil pipeline construction projects that are at stake here.
Well, and he sells them a lot of firearms too. He sells them a lot of fucking firearms. So it makes sense. And for me, it's just, it's fuck. I hate doing this, but it's choosing one evil over the other.
Yeah.
When you look at Saddam Hussein, he was a dickhead, but I'm sure the Iraqis would much rather go. But like right now, we should make a picture, a fucking meme of Saddam Hussein, like "Miss me yet?" That
yeah, George, like the George W. one, "Miss me yet?" I might have to do that. How far back? Okay, because we put Saddam Hussein in power.
Correct.
We orchestrated that. The CIA and the Department of Defense, they orchestrated that in the 80s. And at the time, they felt like they had a good reason. Well, before that, the reason why we needed him in power is because we fucked with the region in the first place. And going back before that, the reason why we had to fuck with it is because they were not getting along after we drew up imaginary lines after World War II. and we basically said, you guys are one country now, you guys are one country, you know. And before that, we needed their help in fighting World War II, something that we helped perpetrate in the first place by fucking up the end of World War I. How far back can you go and say, well, it was our fault, we need to fix the situation, before you just like wipe your hands and say, we're done with this, you guys are sorry for whatever shit we caused, but you're on your own now.
And that ultimately I wish that's what we would do, is just fucking just leave shit alone.
Yeah.
I'm with Ron Paul. Is like, it's not necessarily that I'm an isolationist, but I'm very much in favor of just leaving people the fuck alone. I'll sell you shit and I'll buy shit from you, but aside from that, you fight your own battles, and I'll fight my own. This is on a large scale, at a world level, because that's all we do, is just put our dicks in fucking everything we see. We're like a 13-year-old boy, man. We just want to fuck everything.
Think of it from a business standpoint. If you're running a business, obviously your goal is to beat the competition and get market share. Get market share. If you're not getting market share, you are not going to survive in the long term, because somebody else is going to come eat your lunch. That's the way business works. Now, in like a small town where you have Joe's hardware store and you have John's gas station and you have, you know, and things hit like a level of balance.
Yeah.
You know, where nothing really changes, but ultimately progress will come. Progress will hit your little town. Your little town in Kansas is going to get a Walmart 20 minutes away. At which point, Joe's hardware store and the gas station and the little, you know, whatever store, the market and everything, they're all going to lose to the competition. So the United States is basically a business. That's what we've been for a long time. We're a business. And if we don't continue to capture market share and stay on top, we will eventually lose. And
what we're doing though is what we're saying with that is that it's okay to use force to create that market share, to make people like us. If Joe's hardware store in your small town wants to compete, they need to learn how to adapt. If you don't learn how to adapt, how to become better than the competition, not with force.
Well, the adaptation required for Joe's hardware store to survive is to ultimately lower the standard of living for everybody who interacts with that store. So prices have to go up and wages have to go down. I mean, sorry, prices have to go down, but wages have to go down too. And when wages go down, you lower the standard of living.
Not necessarily. Business. It could be argued both ways. Business, because you can get a shitty product like Apple, and make it cost a lot more than the competition, but just market it properly, because that's all Apple does, is provide the same experience as every other. Samsung, HTC, they're all the same. At the end of the day, they could all do pretty much about the same thing. I can say Samsung is better or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's all the same shit. But Apple, and we've talked about this a lot, Apple at the end of the day learn how to market their product properly, and they can sell it for a lot more, even though they don't own they still don't have the largest ownership in the phone market. They don't have the highest percentage there. But when you talk about phones, everybody talks about iPhones. Everybody talks about Apple. When you talk about mobile products, people talk about Apple. It's a crowded industry, but they still survived, and they were on their fucking deathbed, and they learned how to market properly and how to create the same shitty product that everybody else has out there, and charge a fuck ton more than everybody else does. So I don't think prices necessarily have to come down and the standard of living has to come down. I think you can provide a good culture. You can provide a good product and still kill Amazon. Amazon came from nothing and is now taking over And a lot of retail shops are having to close up shop because they did not learn how to adapt to this little online store that at the beginning wasn't shit.
Yeah, Amazon's taking a beating, but they're trying to hold out long enough to gain enough market share that eventually they'll be able to recoup some of that. But
they're still going to beat out Walmart. Walmart at some point is going to go under. There's a lot of big names, Warren Buffett being one of them, that's dropping Walmart because they see where it's going. Because they instituted, or they put in place their delivery system. You can buy food and they'll deliver it to you. Walmart does that.
That is always a losing idea. I don't know how many times people are going to try that whole food delivery thing, but
they were trying to adapt to Amazon, because that's what Amazon does. You can buy fruits on Amazon. I didn't know this, but you can buy veggies and shit on Amazon.
Don't say veggies. That is
vegetable.
You got to say vegetables, man. Veggies is like the fucking gayest shit ever.
Veggies,
second only to veg.
Veg.
We got some veg here.
You get apples and shit on Amazon.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, Walmart, as big as it is, as powerful it is, didn't learn how to adapt to this changing market. They didn't learn how to adapt. And they're going under in spite of them having lower prices to a certain degree, to a large extent. If you add shipping costs and all that stuff and convenience, Walmart, if they had everything that Amazon does, and that's the other thing that Amazon has that Walmart doesn't, is pretty much fucking everything you want. They have lower prices at Walmart. They have the convenience that you can go to the store, and people are still opting to not go to Walmart and go to Amazon because
they don't want to put on pants.
They don't want to put on pants. And Walmart doesn't know how to adapt to that stuff. And
well, they're trying. Did you hear what they're doing with their shipping?
What's that?
If you order online and you have it shipped to the store and you're going to come pick it up at the store, you're actually going to pay a lower price than if you not save on shipping. The product is priced cheaper if you pick it up at the store.
Correct.
Because they're trying to compete. Dude, so I'm on Amazon right now and I'm looking, they have apples here. They have Gala apples, which are my favorites. $5 fucking a pound. That is insanely expensive for apples. And there's 27 reviews and they have 3 out of 5 stars on their apples. There was no cushioning for the fruit. The box they came in was too small, so the apples were crammed up against the sides of the box. The box had punctured holes in it, top and bottom. Who knows what came in contact with the fruit during delivery? God damn it. They suck ass. I bite one. It no taste good because they were black when it shipped.
and that's the thing, is Amazon is killing retail in spite of all that stuff because these large things. So going back to the U.S. is trying to do the same thing that Walmart's trying to do. But at the end of the day, if the U.S. doesn't learn how to adapt to the changing climate, it's going to go down. I mean,
well, ultimately, it's better to be in business with people who want to be in business with you than forcing people to be in business with you who don't want to. You're going to, in the short term, you're going to get the money one way or the other, but in the long term, you're not building a model that's going to last.
Correct.
And we've got it in our heads that America stands for freedom. Well, that's a relative statement. We are a very free country compared to a lot of other countries on this planet, but we are by no means exporting freedom around the world. We are exporting economic slavery around the world. We are enslaving other countries to us economically.
And one could argue that we're not producing that freedom here either. If anything, we're going backwards.
We're definitely headed in the wrong direction.
Have you read that book, 3 Felonies a Day? Because I think that's what it's called.
Is that a biography of my and your life?
Of everybody's life. Of everybody's life. According to this attorney, every single U.S. citizen, everybody who lives in the United States, commits at least 3 felonies a day.
Wow.
According to every single law that's on the books.
Wow. That must be like an average, because there are some people, I think, who like never leave the house and really don't do anything other than watch their cable TV. But like, for instance, it's a felony to carry a firearm on a post office property. That's a fucking felony.
It's crazy.
I mean, how crazy is that, man? And we're fortunate that in Colorado, and that sucks to say, we're fortunate that we're so free here. We're fortunate that in Colorado, it's really hard to get a felony charge for anything gun related, like going into the wrong place with the gun or whatever. It's a felony on federal property because it's federal property. But there's a lot of states you walk into the wrong building with a firearm, it's just like the post office. You're facing a state felony charge. You know.
So the book is called 3 Felonies a Day: How the Feds Target the Innocent. So this says that unaware that he or she has likely committed several federal crimes in that day.
Wow,
that's crazy, dude.
I'm gonna put this on my list. 3 felonies a day.
3 felonies a day.
That sounds like a pretty healthy goal, in my opinion. Which brings me to a topic. I've seen a few videos lately. Just, it seems like in the last day or so, I've watched probably 3 or 4 videos in a row of young black males who come in contact with the police, and their first instinct is to run. And when they run, they end up in a situation where the police justify deadly force against them, and they fucking, pump them full of lead.
Yeah.
And I'm preaching to the choir when I'm telling you about this, but that is the Molon Lab labia, Molon all the labias. That is the Molon Lab 3%er attitude.
It is.
Which is
run.
No, this is unjust. Fuck you, I'm out.
I'm out.
Like, I'm not submitting to your authority. And without hesitation, the Molon Labia crowd is quick to judge these people and say, you wouldn't have got shot if you had just complied.
Correct.
It's like, do you hear yourself? And it just, I've thought about this before, but it struck me because in the last day or so, I've seen like these videos, boom, 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 several in a row. And at the same time, I'm seeing people making fun of the threepers and all that stuff on Instagram, and it's just kind of connecting for me. It's completely, that is the rebel attitude. Like, if these were redcoats trying to arrest colonists, these threepers would be like, you're goddamn right. Yeah. Fucking take them out, But because they're not I don't know, they're the cops are not wearing red coats, and the bad guys happen to be not the same ethnicity or whatever, that all of a sudden it becomes like, you should have complied, you wouldn't have got shot in the face.
That's the beauty, and I blame the Republican Party for this. So I blame your party for this. Because
I do not accept your blame.
Because they're the ones that push that. They're the ones that push that mentality for the most part. Not all.
Well, it's the law and order mentality.
Yeah, that, and I think we've all been victims to that mentality at some point or another.
Dude. Like, you come in my neighborhood at midnight, and my neighbor is blasting, music and having a loud drunk party. And I'm just like, fuck them. I'll just call the police, man. Fuck those guys. No, I don't call the cops on them anymore. I've grown out of that.
Yeah.
But that's the first thought I have.
Correct.
It's like, I'll just let the state take care of it for me.
And it's such a shitty mentality, because to a certain degree, we don't learn how to interact with one another. Because even if you went over there and you had to whoop his ass, and then it's dealt with. Calling the cops
no. Me versus 6 or 7 drunk guys, like, on their property. That's not going down like, oh, just whoop his ass. No, that's not how it's going to happen, dude.
God damn it, you're going to whoop his ass.
Now, maybe I bait him into coming onto my property. Hey, you're a faggot.
Bitch.
Who said that?
But it's, I don't know. I've given up on trying to convince people otherwise, but founding fathers would be.
It's so deeply ingrained in us. So to give you an example from today, actually, I'm sitting at work and I get a phone call, and I look at the number and I'm like, yep, this is not going to be a fun phone call. This is my kid's school, you know. And it's the school counselor or social worker or something. I think she said social worker, and I was like, oh shit, like, is this going to be worse than I thought it was going to be? And she's basically saying my son is not following any of the rules, none of them. He's not staying in the classroom, he's not doing his work, he blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, I understand. And then she says he is not trying to fit in. And I was like, you almost had me. You almost had me right there. But you fucking lost me when you said that, man. I'm not on your side anymore. I don't give a shit about your opinion. Like, you cannot say that shit to me, because I don't care if he fits in or not.
Correct.
You know? And I really don't want somebody telling him that he needs to fit in. Correct. Now, you could say, listen, Caleb, you have got to follow the rules so we can get through the school day. Or I need you to just calm down and settle down so I can teach the rest of the class. I don't give a shit what you do. Just don't disrupt the class or whatever. But you say something like, well, you got to fit in, you know? It's like, no.
All right. Well, I'm interested in your response.
Well, he got suspended.
Okay.
And so she's like, do you have any questions? And I said, no, not at this time. Because I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to hear from him what was going on. Now, I know I'm not getting even close to the whole story from him. And I know I'm not getting the whole story from the school either. Correct. So I think it's prudent to listen to both sides and then come to a conclusion. But what I'm inclined to tell them is, you are going to fail if you try to force this square kid, into your little round hole. Like, the more you force it, the harder it's going to be for you. And you need to understand that. And I don't really care about his grades, and I don't really care about your attitude about what, fitting in. You know, is he standing straight in line and everything? You need to understand you're dealing with a kid who, when he sees a rule, he instinctively breaks it. He doesn't think about breaking it. He just fucking breaks it. I was thinking about this. Let me preface all of this by saying I love this kid to death, but he has ingrained in him an instinct to make the wrong choice in 99% of chances. So to give you an example, let's say, like, I know that he is so inclined to be wrong. So if I give him two choices, I say, you can pick A or you can pick B. And I don't give him any indication which one is correct. I can bet money that he will pick the wrong one. Like, if I could figure out a way to make money on this, I'd be rich, because I could win every time. Yeah. Every time I could double my money every time. But it goes further than that. Let me explain how it goes further than that. Let's say I give him the answer. I say, listen, A is the right answer and B is the wrong answer. He will choose B. Okay? But let me take it one step further to illustrate how deep this goes. Okay? Because you would say, well, if you know he's going to pick the wrong answer, then you would just use reverse psychology on him. You would just tell him that, in fact, B is the right answer and A is the wrong answer, and then he would pick A, and then you'd have your problem solved. But no. So we've already established that A is the correct answer and B is the incorrect answer. And I tell him that, and he picks the wrong answer. But if I were to tell him, I say, I want him to pick A. So I say, can you pick B? B is the right answer. Guess which one he'll pick? B. He'll fucking pick B, man. Like, I'm not making this shit up, man. It is, and you're trying to tell me that you want him to follow your bullshit rules in school?
My
Like,
my theory is this guy's just a fucking genius.
he might be. He might be a savant when it comes to fucking with people, man. Because he is like every single day I feel like I'm just a hair's breadth from being pushed over the edge.
Yeah.
To just like jumping off a cliff or driving my van into a fucking steel pole, because I cannot fathom how this is possible. That in every circumstance he will pick the wrong answer.
This shit's great.
I love
awesome.
him. I love
Yeah.
him. And I don't think that he's dumb. I don't think he's stupid. Because I like, for instance, you know, like he'll take a spelling test and he'll ace the spelling test. Like, how did you fucking ace the spelling test? And the spelling test consists of 10 words that he should know and 5 words that he doesn't necessarily need to know. These are bonus words. These are hard words for his grade level. No, I fucking aced the test. Okay.
Yeah.
Next week, he gets 0 correct answers. Like, what the fuck? What happened?
That's how I was in school. Yeah, I can seriously get F's the entire time, but when it came to testing, every fucking test, I think it was only 1 or 2 that I didn't ace. But well, there was one year I was. You remember the fucking Iowa test?
No, I don't. Well, I was homeschooled. You have to remember, I was in special ed for my whole.
And you were in Cali. No, so we used to do the ITBS test, Iowa test. And there was 1 year I was top 50 in the entire United States. Yeah.
Was that the year you got kicked out of your house?
No, it was a little bit before that. But I made some fucking stupid presidential list for these tests.
Did you say, I'll never have dinner with the president?
Bitch. No.
But when I see your ass again, I'll be hesitant. I can imagine you at 10 years old, like, no, President Clinton wants to meet you because you did really well on this test. You're like, fuck that guy.
No,
let's go find some hoes.
Like that. It was just some stupid list to make people feel good. In sixth grade, I was one of 5 students in my grade to be given a scholarship to go to college, so you can start getting college credits and all that shit.
Wow.
And me, it was just like, nah, this is during the summer. So we would go to college during the summer and take college classes and shit like that, do shit with college students. And by the
I'm surprised you passed up the opportunity to hang out with some college chicks.
Dude, by the 4th day, I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not gonna go. My friend, he walked over. We used to ride the bus together to go to this stupid thing. And he knocked on the window. I was like, come on, dude, we're late. I was like, nah, I think I'm done, dude. Like, I ain't gonna do all this shit. But all that to say that's how I was. I would fail. I wouldn't fail grades because of it, though. Because when it really mattered, I would ace shit.
No, when it really matters, he'll fucking just go ape shit and start like throwing things. And he doesn't test well. Especially when it comes to, if somebody tells him this is a really important test, we really need you to focus, he's like, nope. So he used to get in trouble because when they would do the standardized tests, he would be so disruptive that he was causing other kids to score badly on their tests. And they were getting really angry at him because their funding depends on the kids' performance in these tests.
I'll see down the line.
So, like, he would literally get suspended because they were going to do some standardized testing and they didn't want him in the fucking school.
I don't know. There's something about that for me is just like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
I remember,
I cared about a lot of things about him being in school, but when they brought that out, I was like, yeah, I don't care. I really don't care that he's fucking up your stupid little test.
Correct.
So
funny, dude.
And it sucks because their jobs depend on it, you know. But I'm like, I'm sorry, you're not related to me. You're not in my tribe. I really don't give a shit. So, but he is smart. It's just he needs to learn in a very specific way in order for him to get it. And even being his parent for 9 years, I still really don't have a good handle on what that is. And so it's really hard for me to teach him because I don't know how to teach him. I know he can learn, I just don't know how to teach him. And none of his teachers do either, you know.
But it's going back to force. I think I'm not claiming that he's just like me, but I've got the same attitude. Is just when somebody tells me something, everything in me is just like, nah, I'm just gonna go the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like instinctually, like when you told me about you've got drills for the class, I was like, well, I had some, but you got some, so whatever, take it over. It's nothing. It's nothing malicious. I thought about it after you responded about that. Like, no, it wasn't in that. But it was just instinctual. Like you're taking it over. Like, why am I there?
Fine, I'm not coming.
Okay. But it's just a natural thing. It's nothing malicious. It's not hateful. It comes natural. It's just as soon as somebody tells me different than what I've got in my head, I'm like, fuck it. Like, no.
Well, I wonder where that comes from. Like, is that something you're born with, or is it something that you learned? Because he was like this since he was a baby. He's been like this, you know, and so it's kind of like, well, and he's adopted. We got him when he was 9 months old, so I can't even take credit. You know, it's not like I could say, well, I was just a bad parent for those first 9 months, you know, like, or I did something, you know, like I really don't know.
Yeah.
You know, but he has not changed since he was that age. Like since he was 9 months old, he's been his attitude and everything has been the same. His maturity has changed.
For me, it was different because for me, you can ask my mom right now. Her and I don't get along that much, but she's told Tisha and she used to complain to me. Now this is a complaint from my mom. This is a real complaint. Because when I was a kid, when my mom used to say no, if I were to ask her for something and she'd say no, I'd just okay, and that was it. Like that was it. And her, like she would be like, God damn it, like won't you beg like every other so I don't know what changed for me at one point where we're just like, yeah, I don't give a fuck anymore. I just gonna go completely opposite. But yeah, when my parents and this is when I was 10, 11 years old, before shit got really bad with us. It was that she would say something and or my dad would say something like, cool, no big deal.
Yeah, that's a lot more like my oldest. Like he doesn't even ask for anything really. I mean, he rarely asks for something. And
that fucker's gonna say no anyway.
Yeah, well, I think that's his attitude. And when he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, can I maybe?" I'm like, "Speak up!"
That's funny.
Why are you afraid of me? But yeah, he doesn't ask for much, and if I say no, he's like, okay. And if I ask him to do something, he says okay, and he does it. And he like, I almost never ever have a problem with him. And I don't know where that comes from, you know, because I don't really think that's definitely not how I grew up. You know, that's not the kind of kid I was, and I don't think it was the kind of kid my wife was. I don't know where it comes from. It's weird. But I think with my middle son, all I want for him is to get through his school age years and learn something about how to grow into being an adult. I don't care what his grades are like. I don't care really if he gets along with his teachers or if he doesn't. I just want him to learn how to navigate into adulthood. That's my main concern.
You gonna let him drop out when he's 16?
I think if he wanted to, I would. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people who didn't finish high school or basically cheated their way through high school and are very successful people now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Josh took the GED early because he hated school. Okay. And then he got his GED, but you know, he was like, all right, I'm fucking done with school. And our parents were like, nah, you're going to try to go to college. And so he tried to go to college. He dropped out and parents were pissed. And within 4 or 5 years, he was making as much or more money than my parents were making.
Yeah.
You know, and not that money is the only measure of success, but when you're talking about
That's just a good
it is a pretty good measurement that when you're in your mid-20s, you're making like $150,000 a year, you know, with no college education. That's a pretty good measurement of success right there, you know. Things have fluctuated over time and stuff, but like there's no doubt he's a smart person. He's just not built for having people tell him like, okay, and now we're going to open our books to page 35. You know, he's like, fuck that.
Fucking close that book.
Yeah, close it. And I did well in school because I really liked school. I liked learning. I liked the classroom. You know, I liked professors and teachers. Did I like my parents?
The experience.
Oh, the experience? Well, okay.
I like to learn, so I've always learned on my own. Like with everything that I do, I've always liked just to learn, plain and simple. But school, there's no fucking way. And I think back is like, well, I missed out on prom, I missed out on homecoming, I missed out on all that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of fucking glad that I did, because even the college thing,
you didn't miss out on anything.
And I know I did. I know I did. It was just like
you missed out on some cringeworthy memories. That's what you missed out on.
And that's what I think back is like, I don't think I really missed out on anything in terms of that.
Well, when you get to a certain age too, nobody gives a shit about whether or not you went to college or high school. Like when you're in your early 20s and you're like, people are like, so what are you doing with your life? And you're like, I don't know, I'm selling weed or starting a business. I'm going to, you know, knock. People are like, oh, what a fucking failure. Yeah. But when you're in your 30s and people are like, what are you doing with your life? And you're like, well, I have a business and, you know, and oh, that's cool. You know, it's like, they don't care once you've passed the age where everybody goes to college. Then it doesn't matter anymore what you're doing with your life, you know.
Everybody figured out that it's all a crock of shit.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, you didn't go to college, you lucky bastard. You know, like, I guess you're not paying off that student loan debt, you know. I enjoyed elements of being in the classroom and I really enjoy lecture. Like I really enjoy somebody getting up in front of me and teaching me something and just listening and absorbing it. And, you know, I don't really care for studying or homework because my brain's just not wired that way. And so that part kind of sucked, you know, like I had one class in college where we had to write like a 30-page paper and we had all semester. We had all semester to write it. And of course, here I am 2 days before it's due, like, better get started. So yeah, that sucked, man. That was a serious drag. But overall, I really did enjoy the experience. Even when I was homeschooled, you know, the way my mom decided to find ways to teach us stuff, for the most part, I did like it.
Yeah. And you got your BS?
Bachelor of Arts in social science. Yeah. So I'm a scientist.
I'm sure that's what that means.
I have literally never made that connection before. I have never made the connection between, I got my, no, I'm not, it's Bachelor of Arts. Fuck it. It's Bachelor of Science. I don't give a shit. It's Bachelor of Science. I'm a scientist.
It's a BS or a BA, dude?
It's a BA.
Make up your fucking mind.
It's a BA. But I'm going to call it a BS from now on. And I'm going to say I'm a scientist.
Scientist. Holy shit.
Right. So, all right. Shifting gears. Well, actually, this is kind of related. Because, as you know, I got a new job. A soul-sucking job working for a major corporation. They're paying me pretty well. Yeah. But it still sucks. It still sucks going in and being told, you know, here's what we do. I do have to say, I'm not going to say the company I'm working for, but this is the most laid back job I have ever had.
When Caterpillar?
Way more. Okay, first of all, there's no drug test. Everybody drug tests now. This company doesn't drug test.
Okay.
I know you haven't like gotten a job working for somebody for a long time. But usually when you get a job, you have to sit through a bunch of bullshit about this is our sexual harassment policy. This is our violence in the workplace policy. This is our fucking dress code policy. Blah, 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 blah. And it takes like a day or two to get through all this shit. This company just handed me a piece of paper. Everything was summarized on the front and back of one piece of paper. And they said, read this, don't read it. We don't care. Just like, here you go. Here's our policy. Their policy is basically like, don't be an asshole. That's the policy, you know? So,
which is a good policy, by the way.
It's great policy. I like the policy. All in all, I got to say, very laid back company. They don't, you know, there's no time clock where you punch in and punch out, all that stuff. So overall, good company, but it's still, you're still working for somebody else. And we've talked at length about that. But I will say this. The dress code policy is you can wear whatever, pretty much you can wear whatever you want. You can't wear a tank top. But this is like a corporate environment, and you're allowed to wear shorts, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
You know.
But you don't see any clients or anything like that because it's all...
No. Most of my interactions happen on the phone.
Yeah.
With other people in another city. But I wanted to try something new for myself, which was I am going to dress like I work in a corporate office.
Oh,
nobody's telling me to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm not going to wear a tie, but I'm ironing my clothes. I've never done that. I've never ironed my clothes. Like I school, but I was just trying to be like my brother, you know, and iron my jeans and shit, you know.
I can vouch for that. You don't iron shit.
No, dude, I will wear the same shirt for 3 days in a row. So, I look like a homeless person a lot. So I'm trying this experiment of dressing in a way to sort of influence my attitude about the job and try to like create outwardly what I'm trying to create inwardly. And in that experiment of like, okay, I'm going to dress like a professional. I've noticed how very few people do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I correlate that, rightly or wrongly, I'm not sure, but I'm correlating it with an overall what I consider to be an overall immaturity in the adult population of generation the millennials and Generation X, and even to some extent the baby boomers. That nobody takes themselves seriously anymore. Like you don't have to take yourself seriously all the time, but if you don't take yourself seriously at all,
yeah,
I feel like you're setting yourself up to be a failure. And just because you dress a certain way does not necessarily mean you take yourself seriously or you don't take yourself seriously. You take your professional future seriously or you don't. It's not necessarily reflected in how you dress, but it does help. Every time I go out in this town in Colorado Springs, you can bet I will see at least 4 or 5 disgusting looking people walking around in their fucking pajamas in the middle of the goddamn day.
Especially in Springs, dude.
Especially in the Springs. And it contributes to this vibe of just like, I don't have to fucking do anything. I'll just like let the government fucking take care of me. And, you know, I don't have to like try, you know?
Yeah. And
I think that's a big gripe of mine is people are content with being losers. You know, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying if you just wear a t-shirt and shorts all the time, you're a loser, but in general, the way that we present ourselves outwardly reflects the way we feel about ourselves inwardly. That's what I think.
To a large extent. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I'm a type of guy that I'm not going to do it every day. It's been a long time since I do it, but I do like myself a good suit, nice fitted suit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had my suits tailored and they fit me the way they're supposed to fit me, and ties and cufflinks and the whole nine. Like I get P. Diddy with that shit, dude.
Yeah. And you feel like a fucking badass when you dress up like that.
Oh, absolutely. I even have a long wool. I paid a lot of money for this fucking thing. So I haven't worn it in a while. But it's one of those long those wool trench coats, big, long, professional.
Really?
You wear on top of your suit. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that. That. But I'll give you an example. I dress the same way for all of my classes. I wear the same shirt and the same pants and the same shoes and the same belt and the same holster. I'm not dressing up. I don't look like, I'm not
dressed up for you.
Well, it's dressed up for me, but I'm not like trying to reach a standard of like, oh, you've reached this minimum standard of dressing up. But in my mind, I have created this idea of what I should look like.
Yeah.
And I did a class a couple months ago and I didn't wear those clothes. I wore something else. And dude, I had a hard time getting through the class. I was preoccupied with the way that I was dressed,
Yeah, well, when we came back from LA, that was the first time I had worn a hat because I didn't have enough time to do my hair.
Yeah,
I had a hat on doing the fucking class because I felt it was better than having my hair all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And I felt like an asshole, like an absolute asshole.
That's what made you feel like an asshole?
That right there, exactly. It's not the way I talk to the student. It was the fact that I was wearing a hat. And there's been 2 other times where I wore a T-shirt. It was a smaller class, and I knew it. So I'm like, I'm just gonna wear a T-shirt. I'm not. And those classes too is like I can't teach the same way that I do when I'm wearing a button-up shirt, and it's weird. Absolutely.
So when I was in high school, I took Latin, and you learn Latin. Well, the way I was taught Latin was first you learn vocabulary, and then you learn, you start to learn grammar, but you learn grammar by learning these ancient like phrases. And so one of the phrases is vestis virum reddit, which is clothes make the man. And I always used to think that like, that meant that if you were rich, then you wore rich clothes. And so everybody could tell you were rich. But now I understand it to mean like, like I said, your outward appearance is a reflection of how you feel about yourself inwardly.
Yeah.
And I see this a lot. Like I can be professional. I can be professional and still dress like a piece of shit. But it's easier to be professional when I'm dressed like a professional.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I think our generation, when I say our generation, I mean Generation X and the millennials. Because that's mostly the generations we're interacting with on a regular basis, have got it in their head that it's cool to be a fucking loser. It's cool to not care about the future of your life. It's cool to like not give a shit about things that you probably should give a shit about, and I sound like a fucking old man when I say this stuff, because I am. I'm ancient. I'm halfway to 70. I'm definitely feeling it. I get out of bed slower in the mornings. I have a hard time remembering where my keys are. All that stuff.
The problem with all this stuff that I found myself getting into, and I stopped, is like there's going to be a point where it turns into vanity, where you feel like the argument is with ladies. I much prefer a lady that doesn't wear makeup or wears minimal makeup to someone who cakes that shit on and looks good. There's a lot of girls that throw on a shit ton of makeup that look good, make it look good. I don't like that shit, because at what point does it become vanity? At what point do you feel like I'm nothing if I don't dress up? I'm nothing if I don't have 20...
I'll tell you, for me, that point is my shoes. If I'm serious, if I have a new pair of shoes on, I feel like everybody wants to fuck me.
Oh, okay.
Like my shoes are, hey dude, did you see my shoes? And they're not even like special shoes. It's not like I'm walking around in like limited edition Jordans or alligator leather shoes. All it has to be is new. All they have to be is new shoes. And I'm walking around like I am the fucking shit, man.
You got the new Shacks from Walmart.
Shoes. Oh my God, that guy's shoes are awesome. Where did he get those shoes, man? It's like, that's right, they're new. They're new. Like when I walk around wearing, ironed khakis and a button-up shirt and everything, all I feel is like, I belong here. I belong in this job. I'm smart enough. I'm good enough. God damn it, people like me, you know. But when I put on a new pair of shoes, it's like, God damn it. Who get in line? Get in line. You can kiss my shoes, man. You see these things? Look how blue the blue is, man.
Crazy, dude.
I've noticed that about myself, and I don't buy new shoes very often. In fact, most of the shoes I buy them used. I buy them at a thrift store or something like that, you know. Yeah. Very rarely will I actually buy a new pair of shoes. And when I say very rarely, I mean like maybe once every 5 years I will buy a pair of new shoes.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So, I mean, the shoes I'm wearing right now, I've had for over a year. I paid $5 for them at a thrift store. And that's pretty much all I wear. So yeah. I feel like I can allow myself that vanity if I'm only doing it every like half a decade, you know. You got to let that little demon out once in a while. Yeah, dude. But like when I interact with people who don't like give a shit about anything. Now there's a difference, because there's like your style of not giving a shit, which is like, I'm not going to take any shit from anybody. That's different from like, what are you doing with your life? I don't know. I work at Best Buy, and no plan. You know, I play a lot of video games, and you know, it's like, well, you're fucking 40. You know,
my no give a fuck is I don't care what other people think about me in many senses. Like I don't, which is somewhat of a contradiction, because I do care what people think of me. Not because of what I wear, not because of what I own, not because of the way I look. More so, I try and be a decent enough person where people just accept me for who I am, even if you don't agree with me. That type of care I do.
Right. But, and I think that's a healthy approach, because you want to be the kind of person that you would want to hang out with. Correct. That's the kind. I mean, ultimately. And so you're kind of like you melt into these social circles of people who get you to a certain extent, and you don't want to alienate people in those circles. You want to get along. You want to have a social circle. You don't necessarily want to be friends with everybody or best friends with everybody, but you want to function in society and not be hated by everybody for no good reason.
Correct.
You know, but the thing about you is that you take yourself seriously when it comes to like accomplishing things, being an adult, taking care of your shit, not relying on other people, unless it's like a mutual thing, you know, it's like, hey, we're in this together, I need your help, as opposed to like, hey man, I can't pay my rent because I was fucking laying around all month and didn't do anything, you know. So there's an element of taking yourself seriously there. Obviously, you don't take yourself seriously in a lot of situations. You're totally willing to like goof around and whatever, but you do take your life seriously. And I just feel like there's a lot of people who don't, and it pisses me off. You know, I don't need them to live my life. I don't need them to take my path. But like, dude, put on some clothes, man. Like when I'm standing in front of you in the post office and I can see the fucking slutty underwear you're wearing under your wore out pajamas, and you're not even fucking wearing shoes. You're in the goddamn post office and you're not wearing shoes. Like, what the fuck? You know?
Wish you cute at least.
No. They never are, man. They never are. Probably because they don't even care to put on any makeup, you know. Yeah. And you don't need makeup to be cute, but sometimes it helps. Let's be honest.
Very rarely do there, yeah.
I mean, if dudes wore makeup, like, yeah. I mean, some guys do, I know, but if guys wore makeup, you know, there'd be a lot less like broke, ugly ass dudes, because they'd be like, oh, I just put on some concealment and you know, throw on a little rouge and some eyeliner, and you love me. So,
like in all those medieval guys.
There's an actor who he plays the sheriff on Bates Motel. He's played a few other things, but he has naturally very dark, like it looks like he's wearing eyeliner.
Yeah.
And people have asked him, you know, why do you wear eyeliner? And he's like, I don't. This is my eyes, you know. Yeah. Women love that shit. Like Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean, they're like, oh my god, he's so dreamy. He's like Dude's wearing makeup, man.
It's because it's Jack. It's because it's fucking what's his face?
Well, yeah, it helps that he's a fairly attractive person in the first place, but
well, a few $1 million will make anybody attractive.
Yeah. Even Donald Trump.
Even Donald Trump. Sexy motherfucker right there.
Yeah, how'd you get all these hot women? It's my rugged good looks.
And the $1 billion.
Chicks dig it when guys wear makeup, man. And it's like, I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. I don't think all of them do.
No, definitely not all of them. You can't say all of them anything. But more than you would think, I would say.
Yeah. Cool. Yep.
So I dressed up as a pirate for Halloween one year, and this was after like the first Pirates of the Caribbean came out. And so my wife put eyeliner on me to kind of make me look like Jack Sparrow or whatever.
Yeah.
And she really liked it. She was like, dude, you look hot. And I'm like, you're making me feel really weird right now. I don't know what kind of message you're sending me here. Do you want me to do this again? Or yeah. So I haven't done it since then. I don't think. I can't make any promises. I don't. I really don't know.
Flowing around on the fucking with you wearing makeup.
My sister has those pictures of us getting crazy with the makeup, getting a little hammered and making yeah. But anyway, moving right along. Let's see. I got some other notes here.
It up.
Did we talk about the left-wing open carry march?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Okay, we're not going to bring that up again.
Did you see? Did you see that Denver cop? It was a sergeant demoted because he pointed his gun at another officer.
What?
So during the course,
I know nothing about this. So lay the whole thing out.
Yeah, during the course of his shift, this guy decides, as a joke, of course, to point his gun at one of his partners.
I'm surprised he didn't get promoted for that.
Well, he was doing it to another cop.
You're showing good initiative.
The cop was white, so they're like, you're gonna get demoted. Had he been black,
oh, there's definitely affirmative action on the DPD. I know that for a fact.
Oh yeah, they're proud of it.
I have a friend who is country boy white, and it took him 2 or 3 years of trying out for the academy to finally get in, and it was because of affirmative action. Like he was fully qualified, but they didn't have room for the white officers on the force because they had to hire a certain number of black officers.
That's nuts.
And affirmative action. Well, first of all, let's get back to the cop pointing a gun at somebody. This just goes to show you that the badge does not mean anything when it comes to someone's intelligence, their concern for your safety or their own safety.
Dude, as dumb and as idiotic as you and I and Nate and Ian, well, not Nate. I think Nate is the most level-headed one out of all of us.
Yeah, I think he probably is. Of course, not level-headed enough to get here tonight, but whatever. Couldn't make it.
But as crazy and as stupid, and we've done, well, I have. Well, you too. I included you. We've done some shit. But never once have we thought to ourselves, hey, let's point real loaded guns at each other.
Even unloaded guns.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know what the fuck these guys were thinking, like, or what this guy was thinking. It's just.
What was he wearing? Because that could have was he dressed like a loser? Was he not taking his life seriously?
Exactly, dude. They were on duty. They were working.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he just, as a joke, pointed it at another cop.
Well, that's what he said. He said it was a joke.
Wow.
It was a joke. It was dumb.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then speaking of cops, there's 2 cops that have been fired. So happy to read this. And these fuckers were fired instantly, dude. Like instantly.
Video of them beating up that dude? Was it because of the video of them beating up that handcuffed dude?
Well, yeah. See, it was this black kid. Got out of his car, hands up. This guy, hands up. One cop punched him. ended up putting him in handcuffs, and then the other cop rolled up and started kicking him.
Wow.
And they lied in the report saying that this guy was resisting the entire time. And
now, I know that they got fired. The question is will they get charged and will they get convicted?
Oh, I don't know, because the kid's still being.
If you got out of the car and punched a cop, handcuffed him, and while he was down, kicked him in the head, and then lied about it.
Oh, you're going to jail, dude.
Well, no, not just that. You're never getting out. That's attempted murder.
That's crazy. And the kid's still being charged for his shit too. Like all the charges that the cops had written up for him, stuck.
Wow.
And he hasn't been convicted. He hasn't been convicted for it, but he's still being charged with it. They haven't dismissed it.
What was his charge?
It was.
I just read this story, but I also read another story, and I'm getting them confused, so I can't remember.
It was obstructing. It was obstructing an officer, resisting arrest. Yeah, obstructing an officer, resisting arrest, and then the other one was having less than an ounce of marijuana on him.
That's funny because the way you said that, it made it sound like it's a crime to have less than an ounce. Like if you don't have at least an ounce, you're in trouble.
Well, this wasn't here in Colorado. It was somewhere else.
Sir, you have less than an ounce. The minimum required amount of marijuana is more than 1 ounce.
That's what the story says. He had less than an ounce. Wow. That shit's funny, dude.
Well, the story I'm getting confused with was another guy who got pulled over. Well, they tried to pull him over because they said that he was doing a drug deal. And
the dude wearing a white shirt.
What's that?
The dude wearing a white shirt.
Well, the video I saw, you never saw the suspect. He never got out of the car.
Oh, okay.
So check it out. This guy, cops roll up to arrest him because they think he's in a drug deal, and he backs out of the parking spot and takes off. Drives over a curb. Obviously, he's running from the cops. They're going to go chase him. Well, in the course of chasing him, they managed to cut him off and disable him. And the cop who initiated the stop jumps out of his car with his own AK-47. With a fucking drum mag on it.
All right.
Jumps out of the car and starts lighting up the car with his fucking AK.
Oh.
Yeah, this guy's in some serious trouble. I don't know the rest of the story because I got so fixated on the AK.
Shit, dude.
Yeah.
What about trigger happy, dude?
Yeah, I mean, it was a violation of department policy for him to have his own rifle, or at least it wasn't a sanctioned rifle. He's not allowed to have an AK.
Like, hey, it doesn't matter that you fucking lit the motherfucker up.
What kind of a mentality do you have when you're like, you know what? Department issued AR, not good enough. I'm going to get an AK and put a 75 round drum on it. And at the first opportunity, I'm going to light some dude up with
Shit.
That is like a stone cold killer right there. Like he joined the force in order to shoot somebody with an AK.
Holy shit, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nuts.
Getting out of control, dude.
Yeah. So, and then they claimed that the bad guy had a gun, but they tested the gun and they found the officer's DNA on the gun. Like I read a story a long time ago, written by a former police officer who just came out and said it. Like cops, a lot of cops, maybe not a majority, definitely not all of them, but a lot of them carry drop weapons and use them.
That's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
I believe it.
There was a guy, I did see a video of a guy, he gets pulled over on the side of the road and he gets out of his car. Now, probably not a good idea to get out of the car, but tell me what law you're breaking if getting out of the car. Like the cop has not told you to stay in the car. The guy pulls over and immediately jumps out of the car. And when he does, he has his wallet in his right hand. And the cop lights him up. Just starts fucking
I think
shooting
I know which one. It's obviously another black dude.
No. This dude was white. This was recent.
Holy shit. Because there was another black dude, very similar thing. He got out of the car.
And got out of the car and the cop says, get your wallet, or where's your identification? He leans back in the car to get it, and the cop fucking shoots him in the ass.
And that dude's like, why'd you shoot me? Like, black. That's why.
Yeah. Cause
That's just crazy.
So they shoot this guy. I think they actually shot him in the dick. And he's rolling around on the ground just screaming, "Why did you shoot me? Why did you shoot me?" You know? And the officer who shot him pretty much realizes pretty quickly he made a huge mistake.
This is the Marine.
The Marine who got shot?
Yeah. He was a Marine. I think I know which story you're talking about.
Okay. I didn't know if he was a Marine or not. I believe you.
Afterwards, everybody was consoling the fucking cop instead of the dude.
Yeah, the guy's rolling around on the ground, bleeding. He's been shot. And the officer who shot him, his response is to stand at the hood of the car and just be like, "Oh my God, my life is over.
Yeah.
My life. What have I done? It's like, dude, go get the first aid kit in your fucking trunk and go administer first aid to the guy you just shot. Like, you made a mistake. At this point, it's time to start administering first aid. Right. And everybody's just standing around like, God, I can't believe you shot him. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if he was a Marine, but he was definitely a veteran.
Dude was rolling around screaming, moaning, and they didn't even cuff him. I don't think. Maybe they did. I don't know if they did or not. Because standard procedure is like once you shoot a dude is to cuff him, and I can understand that. I really can understand it. But when you see something like this happen, it's like, no, like start removing his clothing, stop the bleeding, like administer whatever first aid you have the ability to. It's just.
I think it took him like 7 minutes before they even called for help.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah. Because they were standing around like, what the fuck do we do now?
Wow.
Like the camera's still rolling, so we can't just dump them.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Yeah. That was a really disturbing video because of the audio. Listening to that guy scream.
Yeah.
There is another video, speaking of cuffing a suspect that you just shot, that came out of Parker. So, bad guy is driving erratically in his van or his RV or something and takes a shot at an officer and actually hits him and puts him, like, almost kills him. And so the other police start chasing him and disable his vehicle. And one of the police officers who's chasing pulls out his AR, fires one shot and hits the guy right in the fucking head.
Dude.
And they go around and they open the door and they pull him out of the van or the RV and they cuff him. And his head, I mean, he's just been hit in the fucking head. His head has been basically blown off, and they still have to cuff him. Yeah. And they're standing around, and they're like kind of sneaking glances at it, like, "Holy shit, what the fuck did happen?" And they're trying to be professional about it, but you can tell they're very uncomfortable with the fact that this guy's head's just been turned into a canoe.
Yeah, he fucking got the Kennedy head going on.
Yeah, it was just an interesting video to watch because everyone's like, "Everybody okay? Everybody, dude, his fucking head is gone." Okay, everybody's cool. All right, call. Let them know, suspects. We need medical. They're like, they know that they're. Why are we calling for medical? This guy's brain is on the outside of his head now.
And it's shit like that though that makes me wonder, like, why there's not a standard for training. Because these guys, there's some guys like these two fucking douchebag cops that are beating the shit out of that kid that wasn't resisting, and then you have cops like this cop. You said he shot one time.
I believe he only fired one round. Yeah, maybe two, but I think it was one round.
You there?
Fuck. Oh, did I drop off? Can you hear me?
Okay, you kind of went away for a little bit. We were gonna pause it there.
Okay.
Plan of this guy, and even if he shot 2 or 3, and you have that other idiot who's emptying a fucking drum out of his fucking.
Well, how about those New York City cops where they had the bad guy who was walking around and
the Empire State Building?
Yeah, they lit him up and they hit 9 innocent people in the course of shooting this dude.
It's just crazy because these Parker.
I've seen the video; they were not that far away from him.
Oh, they were.
Like, 5 yards of this dude.
It was in the fucking sidewalk. You can't be that far away from the guy.
I know. And they were like, people in the background are dropping like flies.
Yeah. So it just makes you wonder why there's not a standard to a certain degree. Because if you look at instructors, I'm not going to claim every instructor is the exact same, but the way if you look at everybody's curriculum, if you look at everybody's training, for the most part, it's relatively the same.
Yeah.
There's slight variations of it. There's slight little differences in techniques and points of views and all that stuff. But for the most part, the core, the essentials, the fundamentals of it is essentially the same. And then you look at cops, and you have these people who are just like, I shot him once and now I'm fucking frazzled. And then you have cops in New York who probably celebrated fucking shooting 9 innocent.
Oh, yeah. Well, like that dude that got, this was a long time ago. This was almost 20 years ago now, I think, where they shot that guy in the doorway. He was an immigrant, and he was pulled his wallet out, and they fucking like a lot of rounds were fired.
Yeah.
And most of them were misses, you know? And it's just like, I don't want there to be a national standard, because a national standard implies that the federal government's in charge of the local police. And that's even worse than what we have now.
You can have an independent, though. You can have an independent standard to a certain degree.
Right.
Like residential coding. I don't agree with it because it's government enforced, but it's not the government saying these are the standards. It's an independent organization to a certain degree that's saying this is the best.
Right. This is the best thing to do to your house to keep it from burning down when you wire it.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks. You got to have somebody come in and tell you, oh, you got the wrong breakers. You know, these are like, I was having this discussion with Cody because I'm doing a basement rebuild, and they want me to buy these breakers, and they're $40 fucking a piece for a breaker, you know? And it's like, that's bullshit, because I have a GFI.
Correct.
And these expensive breakers have a GFI built in. And electricians will tell you it's stupid to have 2 GFIs on the same circuit.
It's hard.
Yeah. But anyway, it's the law and it's the rule and blah, 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 blah. But the spirit of it is that these are professionals who have come together and said, well, this is the best way to keep your house from burning down.
Correct.
So, yeah, it's people who should basically know what they're doing and what they're saying, and the government adopts it as a standard. But that doesn't exist with the people who are in charge of, like, I don't know, your freedom, you know, or your life, you know, like,
talk about fucking anarchy. Like the way people think anarchy is the way the cops rule, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because for every instance where a cop gets in trouble, you can point to a lot of instances where they should have and didn't. And I think ultimately, police officers should have the highest stake in maintaining a standard, because they're the ones who have to deal with people who don't trust them all the time, you know. And a certain element of the population will never trust these people. But when you have entire cities or entire sides of a city who do not trust the police, that makes their job so much harder. You know, like you go to like the south side of Chicago, and the people are openly defiant towards the police officers. And that is a two-way street. You know, it's not like the entire south side of Chicago is lawless. But they don't respect the police because the police have been lawless in Chicago. I mean, that's not a new story. The police in Chicago have been lawless for a long time. It's ingrained in the entire culture of the city. The politicians are lawless. The police are lawless. Everybody's lawless in that city. I wouldn't live there. You couldn't pay me enough to live in Chicago. No way. No way. Just because of the corruption in that city. But it's police officers who should be holding each other accountable. And in a lot of, at least what the public sees, you don't see that. You don't see the police holding each other accountable. It has to be the citizen who sues the police, and, you know, the city has to pay out for the cops.
That's what I liked about that situation with that kid that was supposedly resisting is it was like almost instantly, dude. Like the chief of police seen it, and he's like, nah, fuck no.
Yeah. And that's the kind of culture that needs to be propagated in law enforcement in this country, is that if you want respect just because you wear the badge, show me that the badge means something.
Yeah.
Show me that you can hold each other accountable, not just talk about doing it, but show me. The chief of police sees the video. Fuck you guys, you're fired. You're out immediately. you know, and I'm going to show this video to the DA and we're going to talk about charges.
Correct.
Because that's what happens when that's what should happen when you kick a handcuffed dude in the head. You know, like, okay, if he gets up and runs, yeah, okay, I can understand you have to taser him to get him to stop running. If you're too slow to catch him, but he's handcuffed, he's on the ground, and you kick him in the head, you can kill somebody doing that, and you certainly can cause brain damage from doing that.
Oh, this show was in Georgia. I just looked it up. It was in Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, but quickly, speaking of handcuffed dudes, did you hear about what happened in Civic Center Park today in Denver?
Nah.
So I have to laugh, but it's really not funny.
It's one of those stories. Like,
so some dude is in the park pouring an unknown liquid all over himself, and people like
he lit himself on fire, dude.
Yeah, so the police show up and they handcuff him. They're like, we're going to take you into like a mental health hold because obviously there's something wrong with you. So they handcuff him, and he manages to get a lighter out of his pocket and sparks it and lights himself on fire.
I didn't know it was like that. All I heard was that some dude lit himself on fire. I didn't know he was handcuffed.
Yeah, he's fucking cuffed. It's like, dude, you're not stopping me, man. You're not stopping me. I am lighting myself on fire today. Could you imagine how bad it would have been if they had got him in the patrol car and then he did?
Dude, and my thought is, how much do you have to hate life to say I'm going to light myself on fire?
That is a bad way to go out, man.
Dude, like not blow my brains out the easy way or hate myself. Like, I hate myself so much. I want to suffer. I want to fucking.
Have you actually ever watched the videos of those monks that lit themselves on fire?
Nah.
Ooh.
I'm a little when it comes to that shit, dude.
They do not move an inch. They sit there, and their little monk friend comes over with a big old thing of kerosene and dumps it all over them and lights them on fire. They don't even fucking move, man.
Fuck that, dude.
That is intense. That is intense concentration right there, man.
I'm good. Nah.
I mean, like I've witnessed other people have lit themselves on fire, and like there's a certain amount of resistance that can't be helped. You know, they run or they scream or whatever. These dudes, man, they don't even look like they even take a breath.
It was like that motherfucker that was in the interrogation room. He was sat down and all of a sudden pulls out, I think it was a 1911.
It was a big ass gun.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
And then just fucking pop. Like, without hesitation, not even like, nope. He's just like, fuck it. Boom.
Did you see that? Do you remember the shirt he was wearing? He was wearing those fucking, like, I don't think it had a wolf on it, but it was one of those shirts with like lightning bolts and the moon and something.
I just thinking of it gives me a fucking weebie-jeebies, dude.
Yeah, man. And then the cop comes in and the first thing he says is, shit. Like, this is going to complicate the paperwork, man. But as far as I understand, that guy was like a pedophile.
Oh yeah,
so
good.
I'm not too concerned.
If it was that way, then whatever. Well, either way, even if he wasn't, I mean, it was his choice. It's not like he was.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like somebody had a gun to his face.
That is crazy, and especially because like in the preceding moments, he's having like a normal conversation with the detective. The detective's like, "You all right? You need anything? You know, I got you water. We'll be back in a few minutes." He's like, "No, I'm good. I'm good. All right." You know, and he leaves and he just pulls this fucking thing out and checks. He cocks it and just puts it up to his head and boom! Oh my god,
it's crazy. I want to see that picture that he was wearing, or that shirt that he was wearing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep, straight up. It's a fucking.
Does it have a wolf on it?
Something like
Howling at the Moon.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
that's what it's like.
It's something like that. It's definitely not a shirt you bought at Sears. That's definitely a thrift store or flea market type shirt.
You definitely look like a thrift store type of guy.
This gets me into video and watching videos and stuff. And body cam, I'm really loving body cams for this reason, because we're getting so much good information, not necessarily good behavior. I'm not putting a judgment on the behavior, but we're getting really good information from all this body cam footage about how gunfights actually happen. Well, in body cams, it's pretty much strictly between law enforcement and quote unquote bad guys. I mean, I'm not going to get into the argument of whether or not it's an actual bad guy. But for instance, there was a video of a guy who comes out of a convenience store. He's been asked to leave. I don't know if you saw this or not. He's been asked to leave, and he's not leaving. So the cops come and they start talking to the guy, and they say, listen, we need to talk. And he's like, what do we need to talk about? And they kind of get into this argument. And basically the cop says to him, if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, I'm going to arrest you. And so the guy responds by saying, what are you afraid of, or something like that. And he lifts up his shirt to show the cops, like, I'm not a threat. But he does have a gun. It's just not in his waistline. I think it was in his hoodie, his pocket of his hoodie. And so the cops get nervous when he lifts his shirt up, because he's making movements towards his waistline. They start getting nervous. And after he lifts his shirt up, the cops start to make a move towards him, and he runs. And as he's running, and you don't really see this, but this is the report of what happened. As he's running, he tries to draw his gun and ends up getting tackled and drops the gun. The police officer picks up the gun that he dropped and straight empties the mag into this dude.
His own gun?
Yeah. He shoots this guy like many, many times.
Holy shit.
I didn't count the number of rounds, but it's safe to say it was a lot of rounds.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. And like, I think it's kind of safe to say that it was almost like a panic response, because the guy was already on the ground when he started shooting him. And obviously he's got his weapon now, and he just empties the magazine into him. Like, I would classify that as a panic response, to just empty the mag. When the guy is not waving a knife or shooting up a school, or, he's on the ground and he dropped his gun, and he's just like, pop, 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 pop.
Well, either way, it'd be a lack of training. Because if you're that panicky, dude,
yeah,
like, go paint houses or some shit. Go fucking clean toilets. Go.
But anyway, we're getting this really good first-hand, like, really good information. And I like the information, like the videos we see that come out of Brazil or Venezuela, places where there's a lot of armed robberies and crimes and stuff. There's a video I just watched of two guys who roll up on a dude. The guy is standing next to his own vehicle, and it appears that they're going to carjack him. So they're walking up to him, and he sees them coming, and he sees the bad guy reaching for his gun in his waistband, and he decides to go for his own gun at the same time.
Yeah.
But he's too slow, and the bad guy shoots him 2 or 3 times. And because the whole thing didn't go down as planned, the bad guy shoots him 2 or 3 times and then takes off. This guy never gets a chance to even fire a shot.
Damn,
he doesn't die right away. I don't know if he died or not. He stayed on his feet for the entire video clip. But it's the whole argument, can you draw on a drawn gun? Well, in this case, the guy failed. But then there's another case where it's almost the exact same circumstance, but the good guy in this circumstance, so let me set it up for you. 2 people standing at a counter getting ready to pay for something, probably a cell phone store or something like that.
Is this the jewelry store? Is this the
No. No, this one's different.
Okay.
So it's a man and a woman standing at the counter. And bad guy comes in the store. Good guy notices him coming in the store. And immediately his radar goes up like something doesn't feel right. Bad guy reaches into his waistband as he's coming in the store. Good guy moves behind the woman standing next to him so he can draw while he's concealed. So he's behind on the draw because he didn't start his draw till the other guy already started his draw. So he's behind. But he moves to concealment, gets the draw out quickly, comes out from behind this woman and starts firing immediately. Not like drop the gun, not, I'm going to shoot you. He just comes out from behind this woman firing and wins the encounter.
Is this? Because that sounds familiar to the one I was telling you about. They were in line. And he
No, I remember which one you were talking about, and I've seen that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I get what you're saying.
So you get,
and it's that joke.
Like when people say like, "Oh, this guy he drew on a drawn gun and he lost," and everyone's like, "Well, no, this guy drew on a drawn gun and he won." Well, now we can we're seeing all this stuff on video where it used to just be stories.
I think you will always. I think I've seen more. I mean, I haven't seen every single video out there, but I've seen more of good people winning in spite of having a gun drawn on them.
Exactly.
And the biggest example I always give is the jewelry store one, because he swats the gun out, and that guy points the gun back at him. Like he automatically points it back at him. So the good person was out of the line of fire maybe a second. Gun comes back up. During this whole process of smacking the gun and gun coming back on target, the bad guy's gun, good guy goes and gets his gun with a gun already pointed at him after pissing the guy off by smacking the gun away. Grabs his own gun. Bad guy acknowledges there's a gun, and two bad guys leave, and this guy wins in spite of that happening.
Exactly.
Then you have that Chicago PD. I think it was Chicago. He was off duty at a gas station.
Yep.
But
3 or 4. He was surrounded practically.
Yeah.
And he still won.
Correct.
You know, and I believe drew through 2 layers of clothing, because he had a jacket and a shirt on, and I think he had to go through 2 different layers of clothing and still won.
Correct.
In fact, killed the dude in front of him.
I'm with you on the whole video thing. I'm not a big fan of establishing
like a doctrine.
You say watching a video and saying, okay, well, I'm good. Like, I watched the video, I'm good. I think
what it's really good for is disproving people.
Correct.
That's what it's really good for. Because it's hard to prove something from one instance, but it's easy to disprove something from one instance. You know, that shit'll get you killed, you know, and it's like, well, not necessarily, you know.
But I do think, because that guy in Brazil or wherever you've seen that video, the guy that lost, I think the bad guy, whether he got what he wanted or not, I think that's the one bad guy that was going to shoot him anyways.
Yeah, it's very possible. And I think too, like when you're talking about a place like Brazil, the mentality is different.
Yeah.
The people who are doing the crime out there are far more likely to actually shoot somebody than what you see here in the United States. Yeah. It's a different mindset. It's a different culture. These people are coming from extremely violent backgrounds. The neighborhoods they grow up in are very violent. You know, the police won't even go to the favelas, like some of the really bad ones. Every time they go there, it's a gun battle. It's not a shootout. It's a fucking gun battle. You know, so it's a different mentality when you're talking about bad guys in these parts of the world. It's like everybody knows Russians are crazy. So if you use a Russian example, it doesn't really prove anything for our part of the world. So, and also I like to watch these videos and just get an idea of the way people react once they've been shot, good guys and bad guys. Because a lot of times, this is what I noticed with good guys. When good guys get shot, it's like they don't even believe that it was possible that it could have happened in the first place.
Yeah.
And so defensively, what they do is they'll put their hands up. Like, or they will turn away and they'll go into a fetal position like, stop shooting me, you know, instead of getting distance and space and getting to cover. It's like they can't even believe that this is actually happening to them.
Or getting closer. Closer isn't necessarily a bad thing either.
Right, but you got to go 150 miles an hour.
There's no cover
to get closer.
Did you see that video? And I'd have to look for it again. But a video, a dad, son die. The bad guy comes in. Dad gets his gun. Is trying to chamber around. While he's chambering around, bad guy acknowledges good guy has a gun. So bad guy at this point is like, yeah, I'm not going to take my chances. But
yeah,
this guy carried with no round in the chamber. So the idea is that right there is it.
I've seen other ones like that. I don't think I've seen that one, but I've seen. I think the number one thing I've seen the most with people who don't carry with a round in the chamber is that when they go to chamber around, they induce a malfunction.
Correct. And I think that's what this guy did.
Yeah, you might think you can do it quickly, but can you do it correctly? You know, because the stress of the situation, and a lot of times I'm sure it's people who haven't practiced. So what they do is when they go to chamber the round, they ride the slide back, and the gun malfunctions because they didn't let the slide fall under its own power.
Yeah.
You know, and that moment right there is all it takes to lose the fight. So there's a lot of really good examples, but I'm totally with you. I do not want to form a doctrine around these videos because it's still a limited amount of information. And you can't form like, oh, this is always true based around these single examples. Basically, these are anecdotes, and you can look at a bunch of them and you can establish trends, but you still have to realize that not everything goes according to plan.
Correct.
You know, for the good guy or for the bad guy.
Yeah.
So I'm a big proponent of in the United States, if you're a good guy with a gun and you manage to pull that thing off and fire at least one round, fight's over.
Correct.
In most circumstances.
Correct.
But there are some circumstances where that is not true. You know, but in the large majority of cases that is true. But in Brazil,
even if you train, this is one of the things we talk about in class. Like even if you train your ass off, even if you get to the level where you can say, okay, I'm a certified badass, maybe not an expert, maybe not a know-it-all, maybe not have every bit of information, but you've trained so much, you've trained so well, and you're good at just about everything. And again, you're certified badass, you can still die.
Yeah. Chris Kyle.
And that's the prime example right there. Navy SEAL, multiple tours overseas, always came home. Maybe not perfectly okay, but always came home and took some motherfucker to the range, and that was it.
Yep. And dude, I saw a video of somebody at a range, and they were gonna commit suicide. And so the instructor is standing behind this person, and the person shoots a couple rounds and then takes the gun and turns around and puts it right on their chest and fires a round, and the round goes through them and hits the instructor, or hits the RSO behind him. Damn. Isn't that crazy? And I think, I'm trying to remember if this is correct or not, I think the bullet did not go straight through. It exited somewhere in the person's lower back and hit the instructor or the RSO in the leg. Like hit him in the groin. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, crazy.
That's that one, but yeah.
It's just fucking crazy, man. I'm really loving this whole internet age and videos and stuff, because you can point to these examples and just say, look, here's a concrete example of how this worked or how this didn't work, you know.
Correct.
And
I watched now train to accomplish the same thing, or train to not fail the way they fit.
Actually, I had a guy in the defensive pistol class who insisted on carrying with no round in the chamber. And besides the fact that it was really quite annoying, I'm not going to call him annoying. I'm just going to say that every time we ended a drill, he had to empty his chamber. And you know, besides that, when we started getting into shooting with the weak hand, or what did we do that really caused him a problem? Was the, you know, shooting from retention. So you're really up close with the target, and you do a defensive move with your hand and you fire. Well, he's got to do the defensive move with his hand and rack the gun and fire. I'm like, well, there you go, man. I mean, you want to carry on an empty chamber. This is an instance where it could cause a real problem for you, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, so how do you chamber it without, you know, without using your other hand? So I showed him how to do it off his belt or off his holster, and he was blown away by it. He was like, whoa. He's like, yeah, no way am I doing that. And I'm like, no, I don't want you to do it if you don't feel comfortable doing it. Definitely, I don't want you doing it. But that's how you do it, man. Like, you better learn how to do it if you're going to keep insisting on carrying with no round.
Learn today. You're going to
learn today. Well, I don't want him to learn something like that on my range. Like, you shoot yourself in the ass on your own time. So, but
that reminds me, I took a lady to the range, She wanted to get some shooting. She hadn't shot for a while, and she wanted to go shooting. She was a pretty good shot, but like pretty fucking good shot.
Yeah.
And her daughter was there. And some issues going on, and her daughter was there because they wanted the daughter to learn how to shoot. So yeah, no big deal. The range that I go to doesn't care. And the girl's, I think, 8 years old, something like that. She's a pretty young girl. So I was like, yeah, as long as everything's cool, we're all right.
What did you have? The Glock 17?
Nope. Nope. It was I can't even remember which gun it was, but it was a double action only.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, So I chambered the round, and I was trying to help the girl go through the motions and all that stuff. And then I chamber the round with the little girl. So the little girl's holding the gun, and I'm just supporting it, and we chamber around. And I stop. I was like, you know what? Let's do this without a round in that chamber.
Yeah.
It was like that gut feeling, like I don't
trust this kid.
Yeah, pretty much. So I took the chamber out, and then I was like, let's do this without the chamber. I was like, just go ahead and do it and see if you can squeeze the trigger and all that stuff. And sure enough, she couldn't. So she probably wouldn't have been able to chamber or squeeze the trigger either way. But afterwards, you're like, yeah, I think I made the right decision. It's just like, yeah. Shoot today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's really, now her parents know where she's at. So if they want her to learn, like, they have a starting point, you know?
Correct.
But I mean, obviously you're like, Joel was less than 8 years old when he started shooting. And so
4 years old.
Yeah, I mean, obviously kids can do it. You just have to know the kid, and you have to roll with the punches, basically. Roll with the situation. So, but yeah, this guy was, he was drawing and doing everything. Boom. Yeah. Oh, from me?
Yeah.
I've been carrying this. I decided I wanted to. Yeah, I'm carrying this little Taurus 38, just to kind of try it out. So,
Taurus, what? You little bitch.
What?
Huh?
Yeah. No, I did have another Taurus that was.
I can hear it.
I had another Taurus that was a total piece of shit, but this one has been really, really good. Their quality control is very spotty, but this one's been good. Yeah. But getting back to the guy with the, this is unloaded. I'm not doing anything unsafe. I'm just telling you, I did unload it. The guy that was carrying on an empty chamber, he was being safe in everything he did, but he was also slower than everybody else in every drill.
Correct.
And yeah, and I mean, so I encouraged him. I said, look, you can do what you want, but you can see after today how this slows you down and how it makes it more difficult. I'm a big fan of telling people to do, like, you do what you want. I'm just going to give you as much information as I possibly can,
And that's all you can do. Because I used to be even more of an asshole in the sense that I have my way of doing things, and you start to get to the point where it's just like, well, I've seen my way work with multiple people, and I learned the way I do it from another person because they learned that this is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And at some point, you get students where it's just like, nah. So I got to the point where it's just like, look, I can only present you with information. What you do with that information is completely up to you. You're a fucking adult. If you die, then I can say I told you so. Or I guess I can, but that's all you can do is just give them information and let them fuck up. They're like our little kids.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I hope you grow up to be a reasonably safe and responsible gun owner, but while you're in my house, you're going to do it my way. Yeah, I mean, so that gets me to the, what happened today with Firearms Training Central, that screenshot I sent you.
Little bitch.
So Firearms Training Central is going good. I think we're ready to move out of beta testing or beta mode, and we're ready to just call it, we're good to go. And somebody from Colorado Gun Trader posted, who was it?
It was, yeah, his name is Matt.
Okay. So
I was going to say Matthew, and I stopped at Matt. So it sounded weird. His name.
It was Matt.
Matt.
So somebody posted it in a Facebook group. So we got a few people who jumped on the site and started filling out the form, and then for one reason or another didn't follow through with their submission of their form. So I go and email them and say, hey, this is who we are. This is what we do. I'd like to talk to you and find out how we can get you to go ahead and sign up. Guy responds and he says, well, let me read his email because it's quite funny. I don't know if he's probably not listening to this, but I kind of hope he is, because
his name is Matt Wessels.
Matt Wessels. Okay, I don't think I know that guy.
No, you don't.
All right.
He was at the Black Guns Matter.
Oh, okay. All right. So this other guy, not Matt, this other guy says to me, this is a quote. I'm sorry, but I can't participate in your offering. It appears there is no vetting of instructors. A lack of vetting means the potential customer has no way of knowing if the instructor is certified or qualified to teach the courses being offered. Okay. What standard am I supposed to use to vet instructors?
Correct.
You talk to 100 instructors, you're going to get 100 different answers about what qualifies somebody to be an instructor.
Correct.
It's not my choice. It's not my call.
And it's one of those things, like I told you, it is the free market.
The market will decide.
That's why you have reviews, and that's why you have all that stuff. Because
by the way, this guy's indexed on Google. Like, do you think Google goes out and like, oh, this instructor doesn't seem very qualified to teach this class. We're not going to put him in our search engine.
Our search engines.
That's how people are finding you now, dipshit. At least some people are finding you now through Google.
Or even if there was a vetting system, like one of the biggest fucking scams that I know of is the BBB. It's a big.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're BBB certified. It's like, okay, so you paid a fee.
Correct. That's all you did.
And then you get to use Tom Martino is a great example.
Correct.
Tom Martino endorses some straight up criminals.
Correct. I can't believe he's still. But it's like everybody in Denver's like, well, that motherfucker went away a long time ago, but he's still big in Springs.
Right.
He doesn't exist in Denver anymore.
Well, the thing is the way that the Firearms Training Central is designed to work is that over time the market will decide.
Correct.
The reviews, the ratings, just like Amazon works, just like Google ratings work, all that shit.
All that. Yep.
Yelp is supposed to work the same way, but in fact, if you pay Yelp, you can get them to edit your. You can get some more pull on your. They'll help you out if you pay them.
That's what they did with the restaurant. They called me up, and they're like, "Hey, we kind of figured that once your story went up, people were going to start."
Oh yeah, you got murdered on Yelp.
And
after the white appreciation day.
Oh, you're exaggerating there a little bit, but yeah, there was
for like 48 hours you were getting murdered on Yelp. It stopped pretty quickly.
Yeah, and Yelp's all like, you know what? We've got this program to help you out, but yeah, they charged a fee to do it. I was like, nah, just fucking leave it up there. I don't give a fuck.
Do you have any idea who you're talking to right now? So anyway, like I told him, because I don't want to come off early on in this whole thing as like, oh yeah, I had a conversation with that guy. He was a complete asshole. Like, so I responded in a relatively respectful way. I said, our goal isn't to vet instructors. It is to make it easier for instructors and students to connect with each other. As we grow, we will have student feedback represented in comments, reviews, and ratings, but vetting instructors is extremely subjective and therefore counter to our mission. I'm sorry you disagree with that. Best of luck.
Yeah.
So trying to be a professional, but I was like, motherfucker, like, and here I am on a podcast just ripping him a new one, but I'm not going to say his name or his company. So
no, that should piss me off a lot more than it should have. Like when you
to me,
I was like, this motherfucker. Like I will fucking destroy you.
Yeah, and the thing is like there's not even a national national system for actually certifying instructors. Now there are national organizations that certify, but it's not like if you want to be an instructor, you have to do A. At a minimum, you have to do A. That doesn't even exist. How am I supposed to vet people?
Yeah, and every state is different.
Yeah, and so if I'm going to vet people, yeah, I'm going to have to charge people like $2,000-$3,000 for a listing for the amount of work it's going to take me to vet them.
Yep.
That
Get
shit
their
ain't
background
happening.
checks and all that shit.
Yeah, no way. No way that's fucking happening. The
Okay.
best I can do is promote people, promote all instructors, and let the students and the other instructors do the vetting.
Yeah,
I just give them a platform to do it on.
At some point,
You know?
it's going to get so saturated. Hopefully, anyways, that's the goal. That it's going to work itself out. That's just the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's anti-free market to be like, no, I am as the dictator of this website, I am going to determine who gets into this market and who doesn't. Like, that's not very and Ayn Rand of me to do. You know, like, it's not very libertarian.
But you
so anyway,
know where there is money in doing shit like that. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
It's a good thing we only have 70 listeners.
I know. Because
But
we're totally going to do that when we start really making.
Because I've noticed that there was I went to a real estate thing, and all it was to certify real estate agents. Now, mind you, this is not required this is not required at all, but it gives you a seal. It gives you a seal that you can place on your website, your social media, all that stuff, that you are a certified military residential expert or specialist or whatever.
Yeah.
And all that says is that you went to a class and you like military people and you sell them houses. Like, that's all it is. But they charged you $40 a head to go to this class.
Yeah.
And give you that seal.
That's where it's at. Definitely. Now, there are people who do that and they do it ethically and they do it well. There are people out there who certify firearms instructors who do put them through rigorous training. And you can say, if you're certified by so-and-so, obviously you've met a minimum standard according to at least them. But that's still like the Sig Sauer Academy.
Oh,
like they're pretty strict with their standards, but you're still making that shit up as you go. Now, everybody can say, oh yeah, that's pretty good. But it's not like anybody's like, no, you have to have this in order to be an instructor.
Correct.
You know, because you could have somebody who never took that class and who is a great instructor who's fully qualified to teach what they're teaching, you know, and they just happen to never go to the SIG Academy.
And in Colorado, if you went to the SIG Academy, it wouldn't qualify you to be a certified instructor.
Exactly. You'd probably be more than qualified, but you wouldn't be qualified in the state's eyes, you know?
Correct.
So,
correct.
Yeah, that guy can eat shit. But anyway,
you should email him like, well, we had a meeting. Like, we
had a meeting. We decided you can eat shit. Die in a fire, asshole. Best of luck. But anyway, so Josh and I had a long conversation last night about content marketing. And I know you know a lot about that and stuff. So we're transitioning out of just making sure the website works into doing actual marketing for the website. I'm pretty proud of myself. I got the Instagram page up over 300 followers in a week and a half, I think, maybe 2 weeks. So like when you talk about things like that, it's like, it doesn't mean anything in and of itself, but Instagram is basically, it's like you're creating commercials. That's all you're doing. Instagram is pretty much just commercials for whatever business you're trying to run. It's great for that. So the more people you get your commercial in front of, the better. So I'm not like banking on it like, oh, I have 300 followers, I'm really popular.
Yeah.
300's nothing, but the fact that it grew from 0 to 300 that quickly, you know, that was cool. But what else was I going to say? Oh, so I'm going to start a YouTube and blogging campaign. We already started it today, and we'll be on our way, and going to need your help to understand that shit. Words to use, words not to use, that kind of shit. So we have a class coming up, in a private class, so we can't invite people, but we have a class coming up in Vail. I'm really excited about this class. I'm also like, I'm kind of nervous about it because I feel like these people They have a really high expectation. I don't do well with people when they have high expectations of me.
Yeah.
I totally can do it. I hate the expectation, you know. But I think it's going to be awesome. I think we're going to need to make sure we have a camera going to get some footage to use for Guns for Everyone. So, and then we have a class coming up in Montrose the next day. How many people do you think we're going to cram in there?
I'm hoping to get 100.
Woo! Nice.
So
I had a conversation with a guy who just became an instructor. Speaking of credentials, like, this guy is very knowledgeable about firearms, but I wouldn't bet on him in a fight.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
You know him personally?
Yeah. And you know, he got his certification, and he's starting to teach classes. And I mentioned to him that I had a class coming up, and he's like, I don't know what his intention was when he said this, but I think he was trying to be passive aggressive about it. He was like, yeah, I like to try to keep my classes small so I can give everybody individual attention, you know? And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's not.
Here's what I found.
Well, yeah.
When you've got when you've got a small class, people don't ask questions. People don't talk. They're too shy. They don't want to look stupid in front of the person who's sitting right next to them. So yeah, you can have individualized attention and all that stuff, but nothing's going to be accomplished. When you've got a class of 50 students, if one person asks a question, it doesn't mean as much because there's a sea of fucking people there.
Yeah. Well, here's the way I look at it too. The way that we do it, we do big classes, but we offer one-on-one attention.
Correct.
We offer it for free.
Correct.
And we offer it at their convenience.
Yep.
When you want to do it, okay, let's do it then. And that's not what they don't pursue that. It's not my job to force people to do something that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
I am huge on encouraging people to do it.
Yep.
And I get to the point where I will tell people, you are irresponsible if you don't get more training, if you don't take us up on our offer, if you don't go get another class. But it's not my job to be like, if you take the class with us, you have to do this, this, and this.
Correct.
That's not my job. I'm going to give you good information, and I'm going to offer one-on-one attention. It's up to you to take it or not.
Correct.
Most people don't take it. So what? I thought we lived in a free country. You know?
It's like that one. There's this one douchebag. Oh, by the way, Tuesday I got a private class in Springs.
Oh yeah?
That's just a out loud thought. FYI.
Okay.
Gonna be in your territory.
You want to have lunch? Is that what you're saying?
Sure, why not? After that, I got to go to Castle Ranch.
Castle Ranch.
But anyways, yeah, we could do lunch. Anyways, but we got an email, and Tisha responded to it. And I was like, yeah, that's not the way you should have responded. So I responded back.
Is this the guy that was like, you should rent a hall and
Correct.
charge everybody? Yeah, your response was pretty funny.
I was like, because Letitia responded to him, and then he replied back to her like, yeah, but this is the way. And I was like,
oh, now that makes sense, because I was like, you kind of jumped down that guy's throat, because I only saw his initial email and then I saw your response. I didn't know that there was an in between.
No, yeah. So I was like, no, and even if there wasn't anything,
yeah,
I would have responded the same way, because for me, people like that need to be shut down quick.
So let's just say what he said. He said basically, this is a really good idea. If you want to be successful and go to other areas, you should charge people money and get, like rent a conference room in a hotel, charge $20 or $30 per person, like all this stuff.
Correct, to offset the cost of our expenses.
Right.
So for me, it's just like you don't know me. You don't know what I do or don't know. So right off the bat, you're assuming that I'm just an idiot and don't know what the fuck I'm doing with the business. And to me, it's like I take exception to that, because it's like, you don't know me. Had you talked to me, and then found out that I had just this horrible business plan, and I just started out, and I'm using this as a marketing technique to launch a successful business, then I can see you giving me advice. But for me, is like these motherfuckers right there, like that the dude that you wrote back is like these people need to be shut the fuck down immediately.
Yeah.
I don't want you to respond back.
What gets me, because we'll get somebody like this every once in a while, and it's like, I just don't understand the mentality of like, we're offering this for free and everybody wants to tell us, no, you should charge for it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not making any money off of it. What do you care how we do it?
Or donate more.
Yeah.
I had one. Yeah. I shared and I promoted it. I promoted it to all the Facebook followers. So I went on Facebook, I posted a post, and I said, this is our most ignored post. If you can donate some more. Or if you've never donated, blah, 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 this is how we exist. And one dude, after I started promoting it, he's like, well, what are your expenses and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I did see that guy.
And and I pretty much told him, I was like, well, we can kind of talk about this in private. There was a little bit of interaction there, and it ended up with him giving me a detailed explanation on how to figure out what your profits are.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like I may have dropped out completely, but like I have enough credits to get my BS in business. Like I've done to college, and even if I didn't, I've been in business. I've owned my own business since I was 16 in one way or another for a short amount of time, whatever, on and off since I was 16. So I understand how to figure out valuations and how to figure out profits and how to figure out cost per acquisition. And so I understand all that. So that's what I replied to him. And I asked him, but if you're going to donate a substantial amount, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and talk to you about these expenses and how it all works. But other than that, if you're just wanting to be nosy and just show people that you know some fancy words,
right,
then get the fuck off. Like, and he blocked us. He got off and blocked us.
Fuck, I didn't know he blocked us. What a bitch. Here's the thing. When people say, what are your expenses? They want to know how much it costs you to rent the place, how much it costs you in materials, how much your insurance is, how much. Okay, that is not the whole picture. The whole picture is the fact that Edgar does this full time.
Yeah.
And has for several years. This is your job.
Correct.
So it needs to pay you like it's a job, because you could not go out and get a job and maintain these classes.
Correct.
I'm a prime example of that. Like, I have a job and I cannot do the number of classes you do. When I do my classes, my money goes towards targets and accreditation and training and ammo and all that shit. Correct. Like, I just dropped $150 on targets a couple of days ago.
Jesus Christ.
You know? And so it's like, no, that money does go somewhere. But when people say, well, yeah, you're getting donations, what do you do? Just spend it? Yeah, you fucking spend it on groceries and on rent. And like, this is what you do. Like, I was so appalled that he would try to break down what your expenses are for the class. Like, motherfucker, he's been doing this for years, full time. Yeah. Like, he doesn't just do this out of the kind of his heart and just live under a bridge somewhere with his family. Like,
well, you know, and it's not like I'm driving a fucking Ferrari. It's not like I'm in Windsor with multiple vehicles and a gun collection and a nice little organization and give out stickers.
You are not Wayne LaPierre.
There's another guy
incidentally lives off of donations.
Correct. And there's another guy that is in Colorado who has this nice, sweet little. I don't know what the fuck that SUV is that he has.
Are you talking about Sudley Stroud?
Correct. That dude.
Budley Drown.
And his gun collection and all that stuff. Like,
I
barely have any guns. I always have to keep selling guns. There's times, I mean, it doesn't happen a lot, but there's times where I have to sell guns. just to have enough money, put gas in the car and shit like that.
And here's the thing. I think that in general, you get paid just about under what you're worth. I think that if you were getting paid what you're actually worth to this community or whatever, you'd be doing slightly better than what you're doing now. Like you get by, but you're by no means fully appreciated and fully compensated for what you do. But that's okay, because you're getting by, and you have enough resources to continue to do what you do. And I'm the same way. I get paid about just under what I'm worth, but I don't do the classes all the time like you do. And I'm not trying to support myself on them. I take that money, I reinvest it into what we're doing. And, because I don't get as much as you do. I don't make what you make. For some reason, I don't have a cute face. I don't, I'm not sexually attractive to the class. I don't know what the deal is, but I get way less money than you do. But that's okay, because I'm not trying to support myself with this money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's times where I've done the classes more, and because I could do them more and I needed to do them more. And I was like, well, I can do more classes because I need to make up some income. That's fine. That's what it's for. Like, I don't get where people get the idea that you should do this shit for free. Like, that you shouldn't get compensated
at all.
At all. The guy's like, well, what are your expenses? How about fuck off? Those are my expenses.
Well, and it's one thing if it's someone who's generally like, you know what, I want to help you out. I want to pay a year's worth of your phone bill. I want to pay a year's worth of your rent or whatever, or any of that stuff.
I believe in what you're doing. Let me take one of your bills and pay it for the year. What is the bill? Okay, here's the bill.
I get that, but when you start questioning, or even when you start giving me advice without knowing what I know, without knowing and understanding what I've gone through.
Like, if you know how to run it so well, why aren't you doing it?
Correct. Exactly. So, and the truth is, and you've seen this, most instructors will fail. Most instructors will fail in this shit. I've known several instructors who get their NRA certification and they think they're going to do it, and they're going to set up shop and they're going to do classes, and it takes a certain individual to maintain this stuff and to continue these classes. It's you will see a lot of instructors go under, a lot of instructors.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I went to USA Carry and I looked at their directory of instructors, more than half of them aren't in business anymore, and so, like, I was thinking that guy when he was like, how do you vet your instructors? And I was thinking to myself, well, if they're still in business, then obviously they're doing something right.
And that's largely true. And that's absolutely true.
So to wrap up, somebody who probably shouldn't be handling a gun. Have you seen that video of that guy demonstrating the 44 Magnum?
Oh, that shit was awesome.
So I found out something because I was on a quest to find the source of this video.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, this guy is actually not an instructor. He is a range officer. He might not even be a qualified range officer.
Yeah.
But he worked, I don't know if he still does, but he works at a range in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And so the people he was instructing were just customers who wanted to shoot, and one of the guns they wanted to shoot was a 44 Magnum, so he's demonstrating how to do it. And so when people are like, I wouldn't take a class from him, I'm like, I don't even think he was an instructor.
Yeah.
I think he was just somebody who worked at the range who was in charge of, teaching people how to use the particular gun that they rented.
Yeah.
So, but that was a funny clip, dude.
Oh, that shit was hilarious. I think I watched that like 10 times on a loop on Instagram.
I think I watch it about 10 times a day.
It's just amazing. And the look on his face, like, oh, shit.
Yeah. His legs turn into jelly.
And it looked like he was going to shoot it again. And he was like, nah, I think I'm just going to put this shit down.
No. Lunch.
But speaking of Vegas, did you see Front Sight? They're building 25 more fucking ranges. Not lanes. 25 new ranges
at their facility or like around the country.
at their no, just at their place, at their spot.
Wow, they have a huge place already, man.
Dude. And some of the people that I know, there's two people that I know that have lifetime memberships out there.
Yeah, talk about a fucking scam.
Oh, dude,
it's timeshare for gun training. That's what it is.
That's all it is.
And timeshares, they get by because you can get value out of them. You just have to use them all the time to get your value out of them.
And dare I say, their training is really not up to par.
Well, they're training to like a lowest common. No, I don't want to say that because I haven't been to their classes, but I've interacted with a lot of people who've been to their classes, and some of the shit that these people say, I'm like, you learned that in your front sight class? You know?
How many times? You don't know how many times I've been like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. I want to go out there and take I want to take one of their 4-day classes or something at some point.
It's basically, from the sound of it, it's basically all 1960s training.
That's the impression I get.
It's
like they don't even let you carry on a loaded chamber until you've met like a certain level of proficiency that comes like, because I was talking to one woman and she said, I went to front sight. I said, well, I want to ask you some questions. How long was your class? She said it was a 4-day class. I said, well, I understand that I've heard that they don't let you carry on a loaded chamber. She said, oh, towards the end of the class, for some students they did. And I was like, what after 4 fucking days, you don't know how to carry on a full, like a loaded chamber?
For the most part, not all of it, but a big majority of it. This is from the 2 lifetime members, and they go frequently. Like they go about twice a year.
They're getting their money's
correct. And they actually just went a couple months ago, and for the most part, it's all static shooting.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like they have these beautiful facilities and they treat it's all static shooting. And like, I'm like,
I think they have like a couple shoot houses that you can move and shoot a little bit, but for the most part, it's all static shooting.
Yeah. I appreciate any firearms training, especially any professional firearms training, but for the amount of money that they charge, you should be getting the fucking Chuck Norris treatment, dude. You should be able to pop out of the water with a fucking machine gun, and start spraying rounds at like exploding targets and shit, for that kind of money. Now, I know that there are ways to get into front sight where you pay very little. You pay less than you would pay a standard training class, because, well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that's changed, because if they're growing and expanding, that means that they're getting a lot of money. So maybe they've gotten rid of this.
If you want to go, like, I can get us for $100.
Yeah, that's what I understood. It's like $100.
If you're friends or family with a lifetime member, your membership is $100.
This is what cracks me up. You start the class. Well, you did. I don't know if you still do, but for a long time, you would start the classes by saying, "Okay, we're going to run through a quick timeshare demonstration as a joke," because people are like, "Well, it's free. What's the catch?" Well, the catch is it's timeshare, But no, they actually do put you through that shit at front sight.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah, you sit through a lecture and a pitch on joining as a lifetime member, and they want like $3,000 or $4,000 from you.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
and that's my joke. Still to this day, at the beginning, is we're gonna sit through a timeshare, and the look on people's the look on people's faces.
I made that joke a couple of times, and I stopped doing it because I felt so uncomfortable with the way people were looking at me after I said it, because they were like, "Motherfucker, we're gonna fucking riot," And you're like, "Oh no, it's a joke," and they're like, "Is it really a joke? Because I don't believe you anymore."
Your delivery is all really
but I would be more inclined to give $3,000 or $4,000 for a lifetime membership with a training facility that actually treated me like I knew how to shoot after taking one of their classes. But you take
$3,000 to Sage Dynamics.
You take a class from them and they still don't trust you. Dude, I'd give $3,000 or $4,000 to Aaron Cowan at Sage Dynamics to have him come out once a year and like run me through a weekend of classes.
Yeah.
You goddamn right I would. That would be a bargain, man.
Yeah.
Not because of him specifically, but that's the level of instructor I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
Kind of money.
Absolutely.
Vehicle classes, force on force classes, shoot houses,
updated information, dude. Updated
information that evolves over time with experience.
Correct.
So
crazy, and speaking of plugging, we got to talk about, and we don't. I'm sure we don't have to talk about it as much as we have.
Yes, but if you're looking for a concealed carry belt, Red Republic Tactical, and the biggest thing about them, I gotta say, is their prices. Like, their prices are as good or better than anybody else's I've seen who's making the same product.
Yeah.
And so if you go to Red Republic Tactical, you're looking for a concealed carry belt, you can get one there. Also, it's not that hard to order from them. Like, you don't have 50 fucking choices. Like, there's 5, as far as I know, there's 5 belts that they sell, 5 different styles. And so use the coupon code Guns for Everyone and you get 10% off. Lowercase Guns for Everyone with the space. Yes, and I've been pimping them on our Firearms Training Central page too. If you're gonna carry with a good belt, and even if you don't spring for the extra expensive concealed carry belt, still please, goddamn it, carry with a decent belt. Please, for the love of God.
I wonder how the quality of this video is going to be, changing everything, like fucking completely changing the topic. But I don't have white people internet, even though white people do rent it at the facility. Or I'm sorry, white people pay for this internet here.
Well, what bandwidth are you supposedly supposed to get? Like, what is being paid for?
I think I think they're paying for 80.
Oh wow! Well, I'm paying for like 20. So
no, this shit is nowhere near 80. I can guarantee you, it's not worth 80.
Okay, is it CenturyLink or is it Comcast?
It's fucking bullshit. DSL, dude. CenturyLink.
CenturyLink is gay. DSL is gay.
DSL is just old technology. But anyways, I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. So I'm going to have it on mine.
Okay. I'll just download it off yours and post it on Guns for Everyone.
Yay.
So I want to finish up. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to save it for the next time so we have something to talk about. But it's about open carry. So that's a little tease. Open carry tease.
Open carry.
I'm going to put it in my notes right now. Open carry tease.
You got an outro?
No. Let me think.
Nothing to lead us out.
Hold on. Let me find something. I think
last time it just dropped out. I think I accidentally hit something. It just dropped.
Okay. Who is a well-known talking head? Oh yeah, here we go. There we go.
All right.
I don't want to give it away, but here we go.
Give it away.
Now. I'm gonna go with the first one I see.
Yeah. Either way.
Okay.
Peace out, motherfuckers.
All right. Thank you for playing.
Published new allegations that in at least one case, a foreign government may already have taken action to threaten the private business interests of the president-elect as a way of trying to get something that foreign country wants from the U.S. government.
Come on, remix. Fuck it. Ah, shit.
Dad.
Thanks for playing.
Peace. And then let me stop.
I wanted a remix. I wanted something that was going to like put her to techno music and like make fun of her. And it said remix, but it ain't no fucking remix.
Let me stop broadcasting.
I'll get one for next time.